Hello everybody, welcome to this week's bonus podcast with me, Michael.
Yep, and me, Gemma.
Gemma's here as well. Hello. We are talking about the murder, which is very close to happening, isn't it? Well, not very close, but close enough that we thought we'd better bring it up again and do a bit of podcast about it.
No, specifically, we're talking about the flash forward.
Flash forward murder, which is now due to happen in 2 weeks and a bit time.
I know, but I still think there's some controversy or confusion or...
What do you mean?
Well, I still think it's up in the air what's actually going to happen, because on screen they showed us scenes of 5 characters looking bamboozled with fireworks in the background on the street.
Yes.
They told us it was the 23rd of April, and they told us that Betsy had found a body on the eve of her beloved mother and new stepmother's wedding, right? So we know that there's a body found, and we know that 5 people were looking suspicious. And Coronation Street has insinuated in its marketing and social media that one of these 5 people will be a victim.
I don't think there's any insinuation about it. I think they're very much... Yeah, but... They've said.
What have they said, Michael?
They've said one of these people is for the chop.
Have they really said that?
Yes, they 100% have.
Because you know they're tricksy, and I'm sorry, but we're going back to a grand tradition of... Oh, here are all of the...
Well, what else do you think it could be?
Here are all of the suspects. Oh, it's not any of those.
No, I don't think that we've got that this time. I think we could be pretty safe in the knowledge that one of those 5's days are definitely numbered.
Well, I think all of them, bar maybe a couple, are going to be out of the show by the end of the year. I think that possibly one of them will die. I think that maybe one of them will kill. But I also think there's a lot more to it than we know, which is why we're doing a bonus podcast today.
Right. We're recording this on Monday. We don't usually do our bonus ones on Monday, but I know that on Tuesday is when the spoilers come out for the next week. So I don't know. I feel that the closer we get to it, the closer that there's more likely to be press previews or what have you. Some of the guessing is going to be taken away from us because we'll see what's happening in the run-up episodes towards it, and I don't even know what's happening at the end of this week, let alone what's next week. So I thought we'd get this out of the way now while we're still in relatively spoiler-free territory.
So we're Monday, and we've got a week, and then next week up until Thursday.
What do you mean?
When's the 23rd?
That's in 2 weeks and a bit time.
Right, okay, so we've got 2 full weeks and then a bit.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So we know that on the 23rd, which is a Thursday,
yes,
Betsy will go to Carla and Lisa's wedding and find a body. And we know that for a fact because we saw the interview.
Yeah.
And we know that these 5 characters of Jodie, Carl,
come on, Gemma.
Maggie, Megan and Theo are all on the street.
Yes, and at some point at night, and this wedding has definitely happened, and because the interview is like 11:53 p.m.
Right.
So the wedding's happened, the murder's happened in the evening,
or a killing. A body has been found.
Yes, exactly. Well, exactly. I think that's the one thing. Everyone's saying, "Oh, it's a murder," but it could well be that there's an accidental death. Or something along those lines, or
an accident that it turns out to be a murder, or a murder that turns out to be an accident.
Yeah, exactly. It could be along that.
Or somebody self-defense.
Yeah. But by 11:53 on the 23rd, there's somebody definitely dead there, and Betsy's getting interviewed. She says she went to the wedding. It was lovely. They went to town, and she doesn't say in the bit. The very first scene that it was her and Lauren, but it is confirmed at the very end of the episode when you hear the 2 of them finding the body, or is it Betsy that finds the body? I don't know. Lauren's definitely there because you can hear her voice. Lauren's credited in that episode, but it doesn't appear, I believe.
Right, okay.
So that other person who she's speaking to, and it does sound like her, must be Lauren.
Do you think Lauren is involved? Because she's killed before.
No, I don't think she's got a taste for it. I think that trial was enough to put her off.
Well, she's going out with Ollie. And Maggie is one of the 5.
But she's not
and
really.
Megan
she's kind of half going out with Ollie.
Involved.
You'd have to ask Amy more about that. Not that there's anything that can happen there anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
So Betsy says, she says that's when I saw it, referring to the body. So I don't know whether Lauren saw the body or not. And we also, of course, don't see Lauren be interviewed, but she presumably is, having been around there at the time.
There are 2 good clues but maybe they're not good clues. Maybe it's just the way the script was written about the body. Number 1, she says, that's when I saw it. And number 2, no one deserves to die like that. So, gender is neutral. The body is obscured. Maybe Betsy even herself is not sure when she sees the body who it is. But later on, the police ask her about if she knew the victim. And she does know the victim. So she knew. So it's not sure. It's not clear from whether she discovered the body, that she knew who it was, or she was told afterwards who the body was. But whatever it was horrific, because no one deserves to die like that.
Yeah,
so
what
was it?
No one deserves to die like that. Is quite a good... I don't know.
That really is hanging, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I don't know whether it's a case of, no, you would say that however the body was found, but it does make you wonder, like, was the body in a particularly gruesome post-watershed kind of state?
Yeah,
that means that she would say that.
But burned alive? Or abandoned alone? Like, smashed into non-recognition?
Yeah, it's
by a car, or crushed somehow by an object.
Well, exactly. No one deserves. No one deserves to die like that, which is then the focus is on the method of how they die. Yeah. Or if she just says nobody deserves to die like that, that could well mean, well, everybody deserves, a peaceful death with family round the bedside. Not that anyone on Corrie ever gets that, but not very often anyway. So I quite like that wording in the script, because it is left deliberately ambiguous.
It's quite dramatic.
And I mean, you might also think, well, it's not going to be anything too completely gruesome, because they wouldn't be able to show it on Coronation Street,
but
although they don't need.
Like, if blood was seeping out of the body and you stepped in it.
I mean, you could say, about Craig Tinker when he got his head claved in, nobody deserves to die like that. So I don't know whether we can read too much into that. I thought the way that they went round, does she know the victim, was quite interesting as well, because she's asked, did you know who they were? And she's kind of looking down and she's not answering. She doesn't straight away say, oh yeah, I knew them. And again, was it just for dramatic purposes, or was it she was kind of trying to think, do I say who it was? How well do I know them? How do I get out of it? Exactly. And we don't hear her say, yes, I knew her or him, because that'd probably give away too much. But after the break in that flash forward episode, it's kind of, the script implies that she has said that she knows who it was, that she knew who it was. And that kind of already, you might say, could narrow down the list a little bit, couldn't it? Because who does Betsy know? Yeah,
but in this space of 2.5 weeks, she could get to know anybody on the street. Because, yeah, you're right, at the moment.
She's not really doing anything with any of them, apart from Jodie.
Not that long after... Yeah, was it Jodie that she saw at the precinct when she was having ice cream and she went, oh, hi, I live next door?
Yeah,
she said something.
Well, because Jodie's nannying now, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's looking after baby Connie.
Right.
So she's... No, it's not been on screen loads, but we can infer that they know each other, pretty well, or they at least will do by the time the 23rd of April comes round. But I don't believe any of the others.
He lives round the corner.
Yeah, well, they all live round the corner, don't they?
Okay. You've got Megan, that she might know because some of the kids go to school. She would have seen her with Daniel, maybe in the cafe.
But Betsy doesn't go to school anymore, does she?
No, I know, but she knows children that do.
That's very true, and Megan is the talk of the town at the moment, isn't she? They're putting it into the script recently that everyone's talking about.
You really think that Betsy wouldn't have heard something?
No, I do. Well, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you.
Maggie lives across the road.
Yes.
So
the owner of the pub that she does drink in occasionally.
I don't know if she does, but she's been in there.
Yeah. So she knows them all, but I don't think that she knows any of them particularly well. I think
Carl is the one she doesn't know that well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think there's particularly much reason for her to know Carl at all, because he mostly hangs around the hotel, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
So again, it's a difficult one. I don't know whether that particular clue is going to lead us down very many pathways of certainty. But like you said, anybody can get to know anybody pretty quickly in Coronation Street. I mean, we would have said if we'd gone back 2 weeks, well, Betsy and Jodie have got nothing to do with each other, apart from the fact that they live next to each other, I suppose. But, yeah, so she's the only one that she knows. Maybe enough. She's very, very upset during the interview, but then I guess you would be.
Yeah,
would you be more upset with it if it was somebody that you were acquainted with? Yes, but again, I don't know whether we can.
So much buddies with any of them that she'd be upset for that reason.
No, exactly.
The other thing is also that we're assuming, or I think people could assume that you're seeing all of these flash forwards, before the body is found, but some of them could be after.
What do you mean?
So Maggie could be before, Megan could be after.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So because you've got some of them have got wounds and some of them don't they? So you've got Megan's got the blood coming out of her nose. Theo's got a bloodied head.
temple. Carl's got a very big black eye.
Maggie's not got anything.
And actually Jodie, who I thought had something on rewatch recently, I don't know whether she actually has. I thought that she had a bit of a bruise on her cheek, but it could just be the lighting. I don't know. So I don't think we can say for sure that she was hit as well. I mean, we'll go through each of the victims individually in a minute and look at their chances. But
Maggie being the one who doesn't have any visible injury could be a massive misdirection, and actually that sort of scene of her glaring could have been right before she gets killed.
Yes, yeah.
And the other lot could have been after something had happened that had injured them in some way, but they escape.
Yeah, exactly. So we know a little bit about what's going to happen. What we don't know, obviously, is who the killer was. We don't know exactly where it happened because Lauren and Betsy were coming home from town. Betsy had to go and get her ID, I think it was. So presumably she was heading home, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the body was found right outside her home. It could be anywhere between town and here, or I suppose the tram stop in here or the bus stop in here, depending on how she was getting back. She could be walking as far as we know.
Could be right in the middle of the cobbles, or it could be in a ginnel.
Yeah, I suppose it narrows it down somewhat, but not loads. We don't know whether Lauren saw the body as well, and we don't know how they were killed, apart from we can possibly infer that it was horrific. I've been saying right from the beginning that I'll still stick with this, and unless I can be convinced otherwise during this discussion, that I think it's Megan who was killed, and I think that she was attacked by somebody else. Then she gets killed by the killer, and who I think is probably going to be Maggie. And then I think that Maggie is going to make the person that originally attacked Megan think that they killed her. So whoever gave Daniel. It could. There's lots of people. Again, let's not go into too much detail about each of the potential victims for the moment, because otherwise we'll have nothing to say when we get to them. But there could be that kind of twist. So. But there's lots of different twists that they could use. For example, maybe we see, when the episode airs, the first attack. So we see whoever attacked Megan, we see whoever attacked Theo, we see whoever attacked
Jodie,
Carl, because I don't think Jodie has been attacked. And then we see the dead body. But it could well be that we don't see the moment of the murder. So let's say that, I don't know, Kevin punches Carl, for example.
Then we see
dead Carl. We might end the episode thinking it was Kevin that did it. But then later on it could be revealed, no, it wasn't him.
Even more than that, you could have Kevin punch Carl, bodies found, don't find out until Friday. Actually, it wasn't Carl that's dead, it was somebody else.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, I would hope by the end of the Thursday episode we'll at least know who the dead body is.
We are both of the opinion that it feels as though once we find out who was killed, then it becomes the hunt for who did it.
Yes, yeah, because they all do have their, list of people, who've got beef with them.
You just get more story out of it.
We'll run down when we've,
You get more story out of who was killed and then who done it, rather than both revealed on the same day.
The other sort of twist they could have is that maybe one person attacks the victim, then someone else attacks them and they die, and we think that the second person who's attacked them has actually killed them, but actually the reason that they die could well be delayed response to the first attack.
Yeah, it could be, or like Maggie could poison somebody in the Rovers with a drink that's spiked.
Yeah.
And then they get woozy and they get into a fight with somebody, and then that person punches them, they fall down and die.
Yeah, exactly. We could have all that. That would definitely earn Maggie the smug look that we see in the flash forward.
Theo, Maggie's got the opportunity to do that. Theo has got form because he put something into Todd's drink. So he's got those drugs. Yeah. Sam has got those drugs that he was taking. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you could kill somebody with those, but I'm not sure. There are lots of people who've got access to
some people
medication, and there are also people that would be dispensing that. So Carl works in the hotel. He could give somebody a drink with something in it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I'm wondering, another
I'm just
twist...
saying as much as we can so that once this is out, when we get to the 23rd,
maybe whenever
we said, we knew.
It could well be that somebody attacks the person and then the victim inadvertently kills themselves. For example, somebody attacks Theo, and then Theo accidentally walks in front of a path of the car, and there's no... And then
I'm sure, like, and then that legally speaking, that would be murder, but...
Okay.
Yeah, no, but I know what you're saying.
Okay, so Theo's walking around a little bit drugged up, or he's, he's woozy because he's been hit on the head, and then he goes somewhere high, and he falls off a viaduct somewhere, but then somebody gets accused of pushing him.
Yeah.
Because they were around there, but actually it was nothing to do with that second person.
Or even something super melodramatic like, I've poisoned you with this horrible drug that will take 12 hours. Oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to kill myself before you get the... that kind of...
Yeah.
Like, super old school
Or
drama.
It could, I think you said this on the recent podcast, just be a mistaken identity kind of case like we had with Natasha a few years ago. So there's lots that they could do, and I kind of hope that they do, so that it's not quite so clear cut on the day, and we're watching it and go, oh, now we know. I want the twists to keep on coming.
I'm not sure that they... I feel like mistaken identity, that was definitely an idea I had, but I don't think it's very likely because all of those characters are so distinctly different from each other. You've got Maggie, who's an older woman with curly brown hair. You've got Jodie, who's younger with long brown straight hair. You've got Megan, who's got long blonde hair. You've got Carl, who's got very tight, shaved head. And you've got Theo, who's got long... longish,
big arms. Yeah, but
none of them look like each other.
No, they don't. But a mistaken identity could be, oh, I'm going to go and kill Shona.
Yeah,
but I accidentally killed Jodie.
I mean, that might come in with all the Emmerdale stuff.
Yeah, no, that was. I
would be so. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say this right now. If it turns out that some of this is to do with Emmerdale, I'm going to be a bit annoyed.
I think so.
And I don't think that's unfair.
There have been some recent developments with that as well, which we'll get to when we talk about Jodie. I don't think it's unfair
to say that. It just would feel a bit like, you weren't reading the footnotes. No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah. Okay, so the way that I think that we should go with this, and we'll just to keep it a bit interesting. We've already I've ranked these. I don't know whether you agreed with them or not when you had a look at this, but I've kind of ranked them according to how probable I think it is that each one of them is the victim. So we're going to start off for what I say is the least probable, and just to give it a little bit of a twist to it, I'll give a bit of Bookies odds as well, because that's what they used to do back in the day. I don't know whether this is still a thing with TV. Do you remember Who Shot Mr. Burns? With Big Brother. What's the odds that something's going to happen? So I'll throw in some odds as well, even though I don't really understand it, and I won't be taking any money from it as well.
Well, that's very noble of you.
Yes, but I just, just as a little extra thing, I'll throw that in too.
Now, so, just to be clear, I don't understand odds, and we had a discussion where I got upset because you were trying to make me do maths, and I don't get it.
I don't really understand it that much, but when we get to the first one, I'll try and give my an idiot's guide, and that is a guide from an idiot about how Bookies odds work. We need Peter Barlow here.
I know myself too well. I know myself too well, and I always said I would never get a credit card because I'd end up in debt. True. Never start drinking because I'd end up an alcoholic. True. Never learn about odds because I end up a gambling addict. There's where I stop. There's my limit. I'm not going to learn because I know what I'm like.
You're not an alcoholic, darling. You just got massive credit card debt. We've had this in the past.
It's all fine now.
Never watch Coronation Street, otherwise I'll just end up doing a podcast for 15 years. Right, so I think the least likely person to die in the Friday flash forward, the Thursday flash forward, is going to be Jodie Ramsay. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I think so. But I also what's the word? Where you're contrary. I'm going to be contrary and say, I think the fact that she's the least likely makes her the most likely, because at the moment there's really not a lot to recommend her as the victim du jour.
No, not at all. But I think that unless they're really, really going to ramp up the Jodie appearances in the next 2 weeks, it would be a massive flub and a letdown if it turns out to be Jodie. I don't think that anyone's going to be like, oh no, Jodie. It's going to be Jodie, is that it? Oh, who cares if it was her?
Me,
and I think if they want
she's only just got started, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the reason why it's not likely to be her. So Jodie, what we saw in the flash forward, she was outside the Platt's house. She had red lipstick on. So she doesn't always wear lipstick, but she was kind of done up nicely.
She does always wear lipstick.
Does she?
They all do.
Okay, but this was proper, I'm going in for a smooch with you, and maybe leaves on your collar type lipstick.
Not understanding the no makeup look.
She had big red lips. Now, whether or not that was because she'd been to the wedding, I guess it makes sense that she was invited to the wedding as a new nanny, but...
Today, we learned that Sean has been invited to the wedding. Mm-hmm. And Sean is probably quite low down the list of people that I would invite. Now, he obviously is employed by Carla because he works at the factory. So if he's an employee and therefore he gets a invitation, then I think that maybe the neighbours and also Jodie, as both a neighbour and an employee, would definitely get one.
To be quite honest, I think it's utterly bonkers how late they're leaving it to give out these invitations, quite frankly. But hey,
on a Thursday,
right, it's not exactly. Yeah, just drop everything on a Thursday. Enough
crap for you having ours on a Friday.
People would be saying, I used to be able to be fine on Thursday because they didn't have an episode then, but since this year they've had episodes on Thursday, so I'm actually quite busy. Anyway, that's by the by. So it could be that she's done up nicely because of a wedding, or of course there's a possibility that Thursday the 23rd of April is when she's going in for the smooch or whatever with David, because in the last couple of weeks she's been it's been building up to her stealing or attempting to steal David away from Shona.
Who would care about that? Shona would care. Would David react badly? Could Lily be involved? Because Lily obviously knows some of the secrets that Jodie's been hiding. Could she be sort of turned? Is there going to be a surprise release from prison for Max? Just in time for a murder?
I don't think so. And I think this is one of the reasons why Jodie death again is less likely for me, because she doesn't particularly feel involved with many people who I think Corrie would turn killer. Just going back to what we see. So
can I just say again, I've said this about 500 times, but I don't think that these are clips from the show. So I'm not sure how much we can really read into them, but we don't have any choice except for to use them as evidence.
Yeah, I don't know whether it'll be exactly looking like that on the show, but it's pretty much showing this is what we want you to think. Situation.
This is what Corrie wants you to think.
Yeah.
Right?
So Jodie, like I said, isn't actually obviously injured as much as some of the others were. There's a possible bruise to the cheek, but I don't know. It could just be a shadow, or some bad makeup. I don't know. She looks kind of shocked. She looks a bit out of breath. Like she's looking around left to right, like somebody's maybe chasing her, or she's checking, did anybody see me? And they're certainly not all like that, but she's definitely looking very... It's not necessarily furtive. It is more a case of... I don't know. She's looking about. There is somebody else involved with her, and she's trying to escape them, possibly, I think. Or, as I say, she's done something and she just wants to make sure that nobody else has seen her. And she's outside the Platt's front door with her back to it, so it could well be that she's just come out of the Platt's house, which again, possibly... Or
escaping into it.
Is she going to walk in backwards? She's been taking tips from Kirk recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she could be going into the Platts, or she could be just coming out again, possibly having made the move on David, if that's what it is. Of course, she does have her secret box in the Platt's house as well.
Could she add something to her box?
As part of the episode, maybe.
Lily knows about it, Bethany doesn't. Bethany doesn't suspect her anymore. is Bethany going to be more involved? I just really genuinely think over the next 2.5 weeks that anything to do with this story is going to be the only things they cover. They can't be doing anything that's not these 5 core characters.
I would think that would be a bit silly to do. I don't know. We may still get a bit of Devon Burney, possibly.
Devon Burney would probably feel like the most remote people to this, who I'm interested in. But like even the Maggie and Ben and Steve drama could be involved in this.
You mean they're not going to go into a massive story about Sean having a dinner date with Izzy and what that could mean in a possible
I'm not
huge soap mag cover storyline spinning out of that one?
I'm not sure. That's
possibly not. Okay. So who's got beef with Jodie at the moment? Then you said Shona doesn't at the moment, but absolutely could if she catches her making a move on her hubby.
Also, this stuff hasn't come out about the dad. You know, Shona was estranged from her father. Jodie was, you know, kind of not really keeping tabs on him in this home that he was in. They cast this guy who's been in, you know, a fair few things. He's not like, you know, he's a name.
Yeah.
He's got his own Wikipedia page. He hasn't been in it. That's quite conspicuous to me.
One episode. We're surely going to see him again.
He's got to come back. If Jodie's involved in this, surely we're going to see him before the 23rd.
Well, we
after,
know...
maybe. Maybe he's a suspect. Maybe he could come out of the home confused and attack. Maybe he could attack Shona, thinking it's Jodie.
Well, we know that he definitely isn't Jodie's biggest fan, don't we? Because when Jodie and Shona were in the home... or wherever it was with him, and then Jodie was left alone with him. He said something on. No, he said to Shona, didn't he? Don't ever trust her.
Don't.
And then she made a very obvious threat to him, along the lines of "You better keep your mouth shut." And I don't think they've really seen anything of each other since. Although it's very likely that Jodie has been revisiting him just off screen, and things have been going on there. So you're right. Having Doug, I think his name was, come out of the home and attack Shona. Attack Jodie. There's no reason for him to attack Shona. Attacking Jodie. Although Jodie says that he was mad that Shona left home, but
I still maintain this idea that
says.
I'm not sure that these 5 people are really the only people that could be hurt or even killed. I don't think Shona's going to get killed.
Not at all.
I think that anything could happen. Anything could happen.
So we've also got...
Does that cover it?
Yeah. Bethany... Bethany has had beef with Jodie, hasn't she? So she was suspicious of how Jodie showed up at the bistro last week when she was stood up on the date with Ethan. Jodie said, "Oh, Shona sent me to check on you," but that got Bethany's eyes narrowing a little bit. And she also...
she just doesn't like her.
She doesn't. I mean, she was suspicious of her after Jodie found, in inverted commas, Shona's lost ring down the back of the sofa. And also there was a bit when I think it was last week when Sarah said, "Oh, you could talk to Todd, couldn't you, Jodie, because you were an abuse survivor." And Jodie kind of almost had to have a bit of a think before, "Oh yeah, I am, aren't I?" And I don't think anyone else picked up on that apart from Bethany, who was just like,
interesting.
That's what made Bethany originally say there's something not right about her. And even though she did seem to scroll back on her suspicions of Jodie after that night out they had last week, I think it wouldn't take much to open that book again, especially if she found the box or if she spotted Jodie doing something else again, because she definitely smelt a rat there, and there is 100% a rat to smell when it comes with Jodie. It's just when it's going to come out. Adam, of course, has got beef with Jodie still, hasn't he?
The dog poo?
Yeah. No, I don't... Can you imagine?
Somebody dies about
Somebody
dog poo.
dies because if she put dog poo on their car. I don't think so. And quite frankly, I don't see Adam being made into a killer.
No, he's not interesting enough.
No.
You've got Graham. Graham is the sort of spectre that I'm hoping doesn't really have too much to do with it. He, in Emmerdale, has recently... told somebody that he was... What did he say?
He's been stabbed in Emmerdale, and he told somebody in Emmerdale, the people that stabbed me were the people who hired me to get rid of a problem, and that problem is Jodie.
And I let her go, and now I'm being... punished.
Exactly. And I think that was really the first time that Jodie's been mentioned since the week of Corrie. So it was interesting that they're kind of reopening that case again, if you like, on Emmerdale. And I certainly hope it doesn't mean that I'm going to have to start watching Emmerdale again for the next 2 weeks, because I don't really fancy that. But it's not over, and I don't think anyone expected to not have any kind of crossovery links or any reference to it again, because Jodie really is a woman of mystery. We don't know what happened with her and her dad. We don't know what happened with her in the back of a van. She was a problem that needed to be got rid of.
Yeah.
That could be almost anything.
Yeah, I mean, this is a soap, so we're not talking about victim blaming or anything. This is a dramatic situation that you can't really have any analogies to real life. So Jodie being in the back of a car, everyone thinks, she's a victim of some kind of horrible crime. But I said all along, I'm not sure that she is not there because she, Graham calls her a problem. What has she done? What could she have done?
And the sort of
somebody, lied, manipulated.
She must have been involved in something pretty big, because you don't, not everybody is going to be able to pay for, not a hitman, but something along those lines, to be able to get rid of a problem.
Yeah,
so she was involved in some kind of, I kind of sigh as I say it, gang.
Drugs.
Drugs, exactly. Somebody who's got the dough to be able to afford Graham to do this.
When you talk about a woman as a victim of a crime, a lot of the time you're talking about, a sex worker or somebody who's being exploited or manipulated or a victim of something. But Jodie, I don't think is going to be that kind of person. I think that because this is a soap, it's all a bit heightened. It's all a bit, extra hyper. So I think that it will turn out she did something manipulative to somebody who was not prepared to take it. Like she's doing at the moment with everybody lying, sneaking about. I think she did that to the wrong person, and they had the power to really do something serious.
Yeah, and at the moment, Graham has borne the brunt of it.
Yeah, and so they're so mad about this that they've, been violent to another person.
Yeah. Now, they've got no idea where Jodie is at the moment. No. But if I were them, I'd probably be trying to hunt her down. So it could certainly well be that in the next 2 weeks, somebody comes and finds her.
I'm a nameless villain from Emmerdale, and I've come to kill Jodie.
Yeah, I mean, I still very much doubt that that's going to happen. The actress who plays Jodie, Olivia has said that it will come out. She says, and it was very vague in this quote, I can't give away too much right now, but it'll all become clear in time. I just don't feel that the time is right yet. No.
The thing is about this, all of these characters we're going to talk about, there's all such elaborate big stories you can build around them that I think would probably take about 2.5 weeks. So some of them aren't going to get any of this. Nothing's going to come out. None of this stuff we're talking about will ever be probably even discussed. It's all just theories.
Yeah.
So I just don't think there's enough time to build a credible case for Jodie being the victim, plus Maggie and Theo and Megan and...
The thing is, Theo, Maggie, Megan, they've already had their cases built. They could just be very much on the down low, still simmering away there, with a bigger focus on Jodie in the next 2 weeks. And Carl, who's been away, he's back now, but he's been not in the show for a month or so. I think that they could still make it work, but I hope that they don't. I don't want this to be Jodie. Other people that are involved in Jodie, we've already said, well, Betsy herself is, Lisa, Carla, because of Connie. If Jodie were to get murdered or found dead, has there been something that's happened with Connie? Could we have what's her face? What's the mum of Connie called? Mandy. Is she going to break out of prison and come and murder Jodie when she finds that she's looking after her baby? Or maybe Mandy's mum comes back from her operation. Yeah, Sheila, that's it, isn't it? She comes back for her operation. It's like, what are you doing with my granddaughter? Get away from her, you bitch. And, unlikely, I'm going to say, very, very unlikely. I have found it quite interesting how this DBS story has cropped up, or this little thread has cropped up over the past week, because Lisa has said that Carla's done the checks. Maybe she hasn't. Maybe she should, because what has Jodie been getting up to? How deep has she gone into the dark criminal underworld of Yorkshire, wherever she was taken from? You got Bernie, who's potentially involved with Jodie, because Jodie still took her face, that picture, didn't she? And I don't think it was ever made clear about why she did that. She said to Lily, "Oh, it was just a joke." Mm-hmm. And it's kind of been left there. Funny. It's just kind of been left of that. So there's got to be some reason why she felt the need to break into number 7.
It depends on why
find the
she's
photo.
Doing it. It depends. If this is a serious issues-based storyline, don't know. If this is just a soap storyline about somebody who's a compulsive liar, then, you know, it's
or is she just being a risk taker? Maybe she was walking along, saw the back door was open and went in. I really don't know. But that box that she's got, another massive mystery. Yeah. What are all those trinkets? What's that USB drive that's in there? What's, everything else?
I think
there's too much to answer there. I think in the next 2 weeks.
There's a lot of stuff that I think Jodie is gonna come out for Jodie, and I'm not sure whether. If she's not the victim, I don't think we're going to find out before the 23rd.
I think probably we'll have a fair idea leading up to the 23rd. I mean, I already don't think it's going to be Jodie. But if by going into that, there's still all these unanswered questions, or at least even like one unanswered question, I think that she's going to be very, very safe, because I'm interested to find out what the answers are to these, but not... I don't need it to muddy the waters of the next few weeks if there's going to be some other lovely juicy build up.
Well, she's also got a link to Carl, who's one of the other possible flash forward victims, because they were in a relationship. I'm not sure whether they still are.
No, I don't know whether they still are.
They had a bit of a turn in the hay, or whatever what's it called?
Yeah, roll in the hay.
Roll in the hay.
A couple of times, and it was secret, wasn't it? I can't remember. Did it come out that they were together? I've got a feeling it did, but then they, and was it just an act when she was saying, "Oh, I'm not actually interested in him anymore," because I know that at least once he said, "No, I'm not fussed with him," and then they were secretly still sleeping together. I don't know. Again, it'd be a bit weird if that's brought up again as part of this. Otherwise, it could be just because it's been dropped. It's been out of people's minds for the last month.
Do you think that Jodie is the person who has the most amount of secrets that we haven't really begun to uncover?
Yeah.
Out of the four, because I think that Theo's a bit of an open book. I think that Maggie's secrets are slowly, being aired.
Yeah. Theo's secrets. I mean, we found out that Todd wasn't his first same-sex relationship, so there's a little bit more there. But I wouldn't say that there's all mega dark secrets in his past.
There could be something, a massive shock that we don't know about, but I think that it's all kind of out there.
Same with Carl. I don't think he's particularly got any dark secrets. You're right.
Maggie's secret, the only one she's got left is that she killed Alan, or maybe, she was responsible for his death. Yeah. And Megan, she could have more victims. She could have a secret child somewhere that she had with another victim of hers.
So there's a lot to answer, but there is the case for Jodie, as far as I'm concerned, is that Betsy said that she knew the victim, and Jodie's the one that she's the closest with. Jodie has put the idea out there that she's got a manic ex-boyfriend, but that was like when she was all caught up with the fact that she was abused and she was pretending. But it could be partly based on reality. Is this the person who paid Graham off to get rid of her? I don't know.
She could have been a gangster's mole.
Yeah, so if this manic ex-boyfriend possibly does exist, comes back, kills her, maybe. It does look like she's potentially being chased in the flash forward scene. So it could be that somebody catches up with her eventually, does that.
She could be being chased, but she could also be in a very brief window of opportunity to escape.
Yeah, I think
she's up to running away, isn't she?
It feels like out of all of the flash forwards, hers was kind of the most dramatic, and she's in the middle of an action scene, if you like, which could be a case for her being killed.
Yeah, get her.
And it could even be that if she's running away from something, she could just run into the path of a car
Yeah.
Maybe. And
Imagine.
actually, if Betsy finds Jodie has been splattered by a car careening down Coronation Street, that's maybe going to bring back a little bit of trauma, because originally she thought that her mum, Becky, was killed by a car. That could add to a reason to why she's so upset about it.
I could add an extra layer of meaning to nobody deserves to die like that, because clearly she's got sore feelings about Becky. Now she knows what really happened, but even Becky wouldn't deserve to have died the way she originally thought she did.
Right.
So that could have an extra added layer of meaning if it's Jodie that gets, or anyone gets run over, actually.
Yeah, so that's why it's not completely out of the question. I don't want to kind of cast anyone aside and say, well, obviously it's not them. There could well be some very easy and nicely satisfying ways that it could be Jodie. However, the fact that she's got so many secrets still to reveal, what went on with her nannying.
Witness protection.
She told Olivia that she was in witness protection, but again, lies, possibly, probably. How she got into the van, what's in a secret box, what's been going on with her dad, all that, it makes it very unlikely that unless we get super speedy reveals that it's going to be her. And actually, I don't think that anyone that's involved with her are likely to turn murderer apart from possibly Carl. It'd be very unsatisfying if the murderer is a no-name. If it is a murder. If she runs into the path of a car, like I said, fair play. But if it's somebody
we don't even know yet,
that we haven't even met yet, that would be a real shame. So really, is Carl going to become a murderer? Potentially. Although he's not shown himself, he's more of a financial fraud kind of guy and a liar rather than somebody that's super violent. Although he's clearly got into a fight with the bruise on the flash forward, exactly.
One of these could have been self-inflicted.
Yeah, it could be to make herself. But again, this isn't Jodie because we don't see her injured. But yeah, it certainly could be. I would put the odds, because I said I'd do this, of Jodie being bumped off on the 23rd of April at about 10-1. Now I'm gonna and I believe that means it's quite unlikely. If I put £1 on her, I'd get £10 back for that. I don't think it's likely to happen. I think it's a lot more likely that there's somebody else involved. But you never know. What would you be in agreement there?
I can't do odds because I'm too stupid. But I think that I don't know. Like I said, I think the fact that it doesn't feel like it's her makes it more likely it is.
That's a really good point. She's not 100-1, which would be so out of the question. There's not even worth considering that. There is, but everybody else, I would say, there's a stronger case against them. So up next, then, in my fourth least likely, I would believe
is this just
Maggie.
Wishful thinking?
Some of it is wishful thinking, but I really don't think it's that likely that we're going to be seeing the back of Maggie quite yet. As you said before, what we saw in the flash forward, not a whole load with her. She was standing outside the Rovers, the fireworks were going off in the sky. She's just kind of looking very suspicious and scheming, and we've seen plenty of Maggie face pulls in recent weeks, and this is definitely she can sometimes be really hard to read, but I think scheming pretty much covers how she's looking.
Like she wants to get revenge on somebody,
or that she has. There's kind of like just a bit of satisfaction, smugness in there.
It could be
can't
that
tell.
She's decided that she's going to get revenge, or it could be that she's already got it.
Yeah. And as I said, there's no visible injuries on Maggie, unlike most of the rest of the contenders here.
Now, we spoke not that long ago about Kill Bill's 5-point palm hand heart exploding technique. Is it possible somebody just did that to her and she knows she's going to die, but she's going to take 5 triumphant steps onto the cobbles and collapse quite anticlimactically?
I'm going to say unlikely.
Who knows that sacred martial arts on Coronation Street.
I don't know whether we can afford Uma Thurman as a guest cast.
I think if anybody knows it might be Bernie.
Yeah. Well, she's been just training with Pai Mei, has she?
Well, that's what she was doing when she was on her solo honeymoon.
Okay, look, being serious now, because this is serious murder we're talking about here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's her, but the fact that they showed her without any visible injuries could well be
a bit of a plot twist.
A bit of a red herring in there. I don't know. There are obviously quite a few people who do have an issue with Maggie at the moment. There aren't
Why?
there? And this is what we've seen a lot in the last couple of weeks. Who would you say were some of the strongest suspects were the body to be revealed as Maggie?
Well, one person who's actually kind of conspicuous by their absence is Finlay. Finlay is the brother of Ben, who's the one who saw Alan die, we think, possibly, in that flashback.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's all come out now that Jim is really the father of Ben. And until that point, maybe Finlay didn't even realise what he'd seen or why it would have happened. But once he puts it together that his mum killed his dad because he found out that he had an affair, maybe he'd be emboldened to come back and reveal this to the rest of the family. I'm not sure that they've even cast Finlay, but I do think that the fact that Finlay hasn't appeared might be a reason that Maggie gets saved.
Well, I think that the reason that Finlay has been shipped off across the Atlantic is maybe because she doesn't want to have anything to do with him because she knows what he's seen, possibly. But I think that'd be even worse. That'd be even worse than it being somebody related to Jodie, because at least that's been put into the ether there. That was, a little...
Well, the Finlay, they did mention him, and sometimes they mention people because they want to say, oh, they're not coming in it. And sometimes they want to mention them because they're going to be in it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but that would be a massive letdown if the murderer is somebody that at this stage we don't even know.
Clearly, the person who's got the most of an axe to grind against her is Will, because Will thinks that Maggie is responsible for the death of his unborn child because Maggie attacked Megan and Megan said that's how she lost the baby.
Yeah, Will's got an awful lot of beef with her. He was narked that she was tracking him. Well, he wasn't particularly, but any excuse to have a go at her.
Well, if he hadn't been tracked by her, then she would have never found Megan.
Yeah, very true. Maggie is just kind of generally unsupportive of his love with Megan, and he is currently blinded by the fact that no, I do love her, she loves me. Maggie's not
true.
Maggie doesn't believe it, and she had that massive go at him last week about being a puppet and the next in a long line of boys. So that could be something that kind of plays on his mind, or even comes back again.
I think
Ben's told her it's just leave him alone, but it could well be that she has another go at him, and that's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
I think that she's the one who's been the most unsupportive, or outright told him. I think Ben's been quite angry about the whole situation, but Maggie's been the most directly hostile towards their relationship, and Megan in particular, right?
Yeah, but Eva and Ben are trying as best they can to not ruffle the feathers, exactly. And that night when he stayed away from home, they let him. Whereas Maggie would be more like to say, what on earth are you doing? You should have him under lock and key.
Yeah.
So he's definitely got a real axe to grind there. Eva, there's no way, not a chance in hell that they're going to make her a murderer, but just for the sake of argument, Eva has been the victim of Maggie's ire and nasty comments constantly, a barrage of them, ever since she came into the show, and presumably long before that as well. Maggie absolutely hates Eva and makes it very well known as well. And also, Eva blames Maggie for allowing Will to become close to Megan as well. You paid Megan off to stay here, etc.
You can't ignore it, even though it's silly.
You can't ignore it, exactly. Ben, matricide there, maybe.
Well, Ben's now staring down the face of a degenerative illness because his mother was sleeping about, isn't he? He's thinking about his mortality, and he blames Maggie for sleeping with Jim. He also is upset about the fact that he lost his grandchild because of Maggie, and he's also fed up with her meddling, and she keeps saying, look, we'll do everything for the family. And if he probably looks back on his life and thinks about every time his mother's said that, it normally precedes something really bad that she does that messes everything up.
And how much has she been thinking of the family, and how much of it has just been thinking of herself and trying to keep this secret and keeping it so that it doesn't come out about what happened between me and Alan, it doesn't come out what happened between me and Jim.
Well, it's not just, saying I do this for the family, but really it's because she wants the family to do what she thinks is best.
He's put up with an awful lot from her, and generally
he's got a temper.
He's got a real temper.
That was one of the things that Amakaska said to us when we interviewed him before he even started on the show. Like, Ben's a good guy, but he's got a really bad temper.
And he's been we saw him explode the other week, just verbally, when everyone was arguing behind him in the back room of the Rovers. He's had to put up with an awful lot of criticism from his mum, not just directed at him, but also Eva, who he does clearly love. It could well be that if she pushes the wrong buttons at the wrong time, that he's the one that bumps her off.
But equally, he could be having an attack of the Ipsy-Daisy disease and fall on her and cause her to fall off for something else.
Yeah, maybe, because we have seen him be a bit wobbly, haven't we?
He could collapse onto her and kill her. Like if they're standing on the viaduct or something.
Yeah.
That he could stumble into her and push her off.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
unlikely, but unlike Eva, who we can say, they'd never make Eva a murderer. No way, not lovely Eva. We can't say that about Ben. I love Ben, but he's not been in the show long enough for us to point blank say, well, there's no way that they would turn him killer.
Yeah.
Megan, obviously, could be a suspect for the bumping off of Maggie because she foiled her plans.
Well, she was really upset, and she knows that Maggie doesn't. We think that she knows Maggie didn't kill her baby.
Yeah, of course, because we know that Megan knows that she had a termination.
Yeah. So she hasn't got that revenge reason, but she still is scared. If you think about it, it's because it all came out about her and Will that she had to have the termination in the first place. And Maggie's kind of driving a lot of the hatred, so she could direct it to her. I think it's a bit weak, but they could have a fight. Any of these two people could have a fight where one of them falls off.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I suppose it's... Yeah, will the murder be something that is a heat of the moment thing?
Yeah.
Will it be something that's plotted? Will it be something that's an accident during a confrontation?
I would really love it if after it all comes out, we work out that somebody had been in plain sight plotting a murder. Because I think that's so much more satisfying and cleverer than so and so and Thingamabob had a fight on the side of a tall building.
Is it better if Megan keeps Maggie alive? So Maggie knows the secret that Will attack Daniel.
Yeah.
And that was because of what had been going on between the two of them.
I don't think even Megan knows about Will attacking Daniel, does she?
No, she doesn't, but I'm saying she could find out, and then is it easier for her to then get rid of Maggie because she doesn't want that to come out? But equally, Will saying, yes, I was in love with her, he hasn't admitted to attacking Daniel, but I think that if he were to admit to attacking Daniel, that doesn't necessarily mean that this affair happened. It just could be put down to his infatuation with her. So, yeah, I don't think that one way or another Megan particularly benefits from Maggie being alive or not, apart from the fact that Maggie is leading the anti-Megan brigade, I suppose, and has just been that much more forceful, and she is the biggest force to be reckoned with all the people that are likely to see her be sent down.
Yep.
We've also got, Lauren. Could she kill again? Maggie's not her favourite person. Lauren's definitely not Maggie's favourite person. I think that Lauren's probably not a big enough player in this story for it to be her. She's already, though you could say, she's already got one body. Has she got the taste for blood after bumping off Joel? Is Maggie gonna push her one too many times? Unlikely. If anything, I would say that Maggie's more likely to kill Lauren just for being such a pouty cow at work.
Yeah, possibly. Tori and Leanne, Maggie has threatened Sam.
Yes.
I think that's probably more of a reason for them to kill Megan, but I also think that
Sam, for sure.
Sam, the elephant in the room here is that Sam has been experiencing paranoia.
Mm-hmm.
because I think the ADHD medication he's abused. We haven't said this. Have we said this in a podcast? I'm not sure. I don't think we've recorded one since it happened. But he had a conversation on the phone with Will, who phoned...
Well, it wasn't a conversation, was it? Will phoned up with a threat.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
I'm pretty sure that was a hallucination.
Yeah.
And you said today...
When he saw Will in the precinct, he could have been hallucinating him then, because there wasn't anything in the script, and he didn't then come up to speak to Hope or anything like that.
Sam could literally kill anybody. Any of these flash forward people could be a victim of Sam. I'm not sure they're going to do that.
I don't think they're going to do
that character.
Isn't that similar to EastEnders? Wasn't the person that killed that person in the flash forward Bobby Beale or
but
something?
Don't forget,
who was a little boy. Am I making this up?
I don't know. Don't forget that Toya got away with killing Imran because she lied.
Yeah.
And also, those women would protect Sam with everything they've got. And if it turned out he did that under some kind of weird delirium, it was also possible that he could be found not guilty.
I think it's more likely that Sam's involvement in this would be that he either finds the body or he witnesses the attack, but then puts it down to hallucination.
Yeah, he thinks he knows who did it, but actually it wasn't that at all. That could be a twist.
Yeah, he does know who did it, but then he's like, no, that couldn't have happened. Or he sees it happen, but then thinks it's one person doing it, but it's actually someone else. That wouldn't surprise me if Sam was involved that way, because they certainly seem to be going down the hallucination route for that character.
Corrie also really loves doing ghosts, and it would be great if whoever gets killed haunts Sam as a ghost, to make him feel bad and try to get him to not say anything.
It feels like Corrie has gone off the ghost thing, in the past 12 months, because they were certainly very gung-ho about it at the start of 2025, end of 24. But yeah, they could certainly return to that well. And yeah, if it is, you're right, Megan that gets killed, just because, I think that's the most likely. Are we going to have ghost Megan come back to haunt Sam in his dreams?
That'd be good.
Not unlikely, I'm going to say. So other people that are involved in Maggie, but I don't necessarily think they've got any reason to want to bump her off. You got Ollie, you got Susie, the rest of the Driscoll clans. I don't think they've got any particular beef with their grandma, have they?
Well, they have, but not enough to kill her.
No, exactly. Amy's involved there slightly. Maggie clearly doesn't want Ollie to be involved with Amy. We know why now. I don't think Amy's going to be particularly anything to do with this storyline, whether it's Maggie or not. Adam is currently representing Megan, isn't he? Mm-hmm. I've already said I don't think they're going to make Adam a murderer. And you said Finlay, which I agree could be a potential wild card, but I don't think that that's very likely. I think it's too soon. There's not enough time left to really bring him back at the moment. So do you? I mean, what are some reasons why you think that it could be Maggie?
Well, it's all to do with the lion and the Alan and Jim and threatening people, and I mean, at the moment it feels most likely that she'd go after Megan because of what she did to Will, but anything could happen in the next 2.5 weeks where she attacks somebody because she thinks they've done something horrible to her boys.
So many times we've heard her say something along the lines of, "You have no idea what I'm capable of." So it could well be that she goes after somebody and then it gets turned back onto her. Definitely from looking at the flashback where she's looking quite smug about something or scheming, she could be going off to do just that. Or that little smug look could be a look of, haha, I've done something. Mm-hmm. Or I know something has been done and I'm going to put it onto somebody else. Yeah. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I also am wondering whether, because Pauline McLynn is a big-ish name, that's automatically going to mean that the character's got a bit of a short shelf life.
I know. I don't want that to be true because I really like her, but
I think as soon as she came in,
we've said that about quite a few people, haven't we?
We have.
Like Cassie and
that's
Evelyn.
true. Yeah, that's true. But as soon as she started, I just got the feeling, especially because she came in running as the mother-in-law from hell. I'm a nasty piece of work. It felt like there's only so long they can take that. the fact that we know that she's involved in her husband's murder. She's owning the Rovers at the moment. I don't think Coronation Street, I don't think it's a good look for the show to have a murderer, potentially, if you want to call her that, as the owner of the Rovers. So for all these things, I think that her shelf life could be fairly short, although I wouldn't say it's necessarily this short.
She's also still got this secret about Daniel. Daniel is, unhinged. We haven't mentioned anything about his new infatuation with Jodie when we were talking about her. But, he's pushed so many people down the stairs. He suddenly fancies Jodie out of nowhere.
That's a really good point. I forgot about that.
He's mad about Megan. So he could be... I think we're focusing on the victims at the moment. But I think that there are lots of people who could be the killer, who are big names, who somehow get away with it. And 10 years ago, I wouldn't have said this, but Coronation Street has gradually turned from soap justice will always out to if we want something, if something's inconvenient, it's not gonna happen. Like Toya killing Imran, we're just gonna keep her in the show because it's fine. So many people have got away with stuff that they wouldn't have got away with during this sort of more classic era Corrie. So Daniel could kill, Sam could kill.
You're right, it's not completely out of the question.
It is a question of circumstances, but
it's not a road that I'd really be happy Coronation Street going down.
There's the other
any
thing
further.
of like, overcharge. I'm not going to even say, but certain big cases of murder trials and things where they've overcharged somebody and said it was deliberate, and it turned out that really might have been more arguable for manslaughter because they couldn't prove murder. The person gets away with it. I mean, I think that kind of happened with Lauren and Max a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think it did. I think you're right.
And also, with Nina and Seb and all that, we had many conversations about those things, and I do think they muddy the waters a bit. I don't think they're very good at doing legal stuff. You only have to look at what happened with Debbie and George just this past week, with both of them being on trial. And Corrie went, he did it, she didn't. Okay, that's it. No questions, just move on.
Yeah, you're right. I think sometimes when we look at who could potentially be the victim, we'd also need to consider how that's going to springboard the rest of the stories. Now, I don't know about Jodie. For her, like, if she got bumped off, who would care? I mean, it'd almost be like Shona and David would just go back to how they were at the end of 2025.
I'm not trying to be mean to the character or the actor, but it's clearly not. They haven't established the audience liking her. She hasn't got many allies. No. She's just been a bit of a cow.
Whereas if Maggie were to be killed off, it would be massive in the Rovers. It would maybe lead to Ben doubling down on, my ma were a saint. Like, he could go back and say, she's dead and she was the best woman, and that could make things more of a wedge between him and his family. It would obviously remove any chance of her revealing that her alibi with Will was fake.
But yeah,
and it would also probably lead to then Ben becoming the landlord of the Rovers, which I think is probably where this is eventually going.
Any character who still has a secret that isn't revealed on the 23rd, by the 23rd, is safe. Because unless Finley comes out later and says Maggie killed Alan, the fact that she's still got this unspoken secret is keeping her alive.
I think that's probably the biggest reason.
And all of her mysteries.
Yeah. And they obviously have got the chance to be revealed in the next 2 weeks. We got 10, 11 episodes or so, but it's unlikely. And I think that what happened between her and Alan is massive, massive plot armour for Maggie. And I think that's a reason why I put her fourth most likely, so second least likely to be killed off here.
5-1 you've put there.
Yeah, I'm going to say 5-1. I think you should have
done 20-1 and now 10-1.
I'm saying 5-1 on this.
But don't, this is one thing that I don't. My maths skills are very poor, but I would think that when you're working out odds, I know they don't do this because there are more things that can happen than just the results of a race. But like, say you got horse race and you got 5 horses, surely all of the odds should add up to 100%.
No, don't worry like that.
I know it doesn't. That's what boggles my brain. But the same thing with the horse race as is with Coronation Street. Like, you know, an alien could come and beam them all up.
Quite possibly. 100 to 1. 1,000 to 1. Yeah, so I think that...
Well, I'm putting my money there.
She's going to have this secret, and there's no way that she's going to get bumped off if that hasn't been revealed.
Yeah.
Also, she recently said to Ben and Eva that she doesn't have the energy to fight anymore. So that could be kind of a way of saying that we might see her back down a little bit in the fortnight to come.
No, that's what you say right before you punch them in the face.
Oh, I don't know. I think, you know, the fact that Finlay still, we think that he's going to come back at some point, don't we?
Yeah.
We kind of want him to come into the programme while she's here. Otherwise, there's massive wasted potential. If he just comes along and is like, oh yeah, remember Ma who died? Wow, turned out that she pushed Dad down the stairs. Like, it could well be that it's her funeral that brings him back over to Weatherfield or over to the UK.
Who cares?
But,
again.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why she's pretty safe.
Good for her.
You know, so I think that she's gonna live to pull a face another day.
But I do think that her days are numbered. But I don't know.
Not
it's
quite
just
yet.
because it's because I've said this about Evelyn from the beginning. I just think it's too good to be true. I think that she's great. I love her. She is definitely more of a Corrie caricature than a you know a sort of a standard character like some of the other, like, you know, Toya and Leanne are.
Yeah.
She's one of these.
She's definitely a bit
people.
OTT, and that's really rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way. I mean, if anyone's going to come along and bump Maggie off, I think that we should have the majority of Corrie viewers on the suspect list. For sure. But no, I think that she's. Because she's such a unique character. There's nobody quite like her on Corrie at the don't I think it would be a real waste if she were to go. And I would think that maybe like Corrie knows that as well. So I don't think it's going to be her. But I think because she's got more enemies than Jodie, that's why I put her as more likely than Jodie to be bumped off.
And we're not going into who's got contracts and how long they're lasting and all of this, because that's just, I think, cheating.
Well, it's no, I don't know.
Well, you know, she came in October. If she had a year contract,
I think
she'd be out in October.
I think that is worth discussing. Actually,
same with
when
Ben.
we get to some of them, because
same with
Will.
Will.
Yeah, but they can be cut short. It could be a 6-month contract rather than a year contract as well, can't it? Because that certainly exists. But somebody who's been in the show just about a year now, maybe a bit over a year, I think, is my third most likely pick, and that's Carl. He's just come back into the show in today's episode after a bit of time off. What we saw in the flash forward was he was outside the garage. He was looking up at the fireworks. He had a rucksack over his shoulder, which is quite an interesting clue. A very, very bruised eye. He'd had a massive punch to the face there. He kind of looked a little bit triumphant looking, I thought at first. But then he looks over kind of bistro shop sort of way, and that look fades. Now, I've got no idea how much I'm reading into that, but is there something that's, you know, coming up behind him from the bistro way, or is there something
coming to confront him?
Yeah, or is he looking at the bistro and that's
someone's there?
Or has something happened there that he's thought of? I don't know.
See, to me, and I don't think I've changed since I saw this. He's going off back to Germany. He's got a swag bag in rucksack form of all of his ill-gotten gains. He's happy because he's got away with it. He's going to go away. He may very well come back in a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever. He is sad because he looks at the bistro. I'm going to assume that he has, you know, Debbie and Ronnie and maybe Carl and Abby, Kevin and Abby are maybe having a nice meal. And he's like, oh, I feel bad because I'm going to leave them behind. But
equally, I said it's looking at the bistro. You can't tell. It could well be that he was looking at number 13.
Or he could be looking at somebody walking towards him who's nobody we know.
Yeah. I don't know how much we can take from that. It could well be Kevin's house. I don't know, but I think you're right. The rucksack definitely signifies he is planning to do a flit to Germany on that day. Is he going to make it?
Yeah. Is he going to be intercepted?
I'm going to say he's not as likely to not make it as some of the others higher up on the list, but yeah.
I would be a bit disappointed if it's Ronnie that kills him, if he does die. Because I think that Ronnie has come into his own with Debbie. I don't think there's... it'd be sad to have Debbie have a setback with that, because
Well, she's already had her prison setback,
exactly.
hasn't she?
We don't need another.
And that was a very odd little séjour for Debbie.
Yes, exactly. We don't want another side quest.
Great
of,
to have Lou back.
Yeah.
But was her being in prison necessary whatsoever? Not at all.
Not well. I mean, it fills the time.
Exactly. A bit of thumb twiddling there, and of course, it made Carl look all the worse for letting her go there.
Yeah.
It came out about her being the mum and everything, so it wasn't completely pointless plot wise. But you're right. I don't necessarily need to see her have another massive life crisis before this inevitable one she's already working her way towards.
Now, he's still got unfinished business with Tyrone and Kevin about the whole running Tyrone over thing.
Yeah.
Tyrone seems to be over it, but it seems a bit stupid. I mean, absolute weird wild card. Hope or Fizz could be like, I'm getting revenge for you being horrible to Tyrone.
Oh,
don't think that's likely,
Hope, yeah,
but
she's not
Hope could definitely set him on fire.
For sure.
I think that
that would
Debbie...
be very dramatic. That'd be very a taste of his own medicine after that plot to burn down Chariot Square, which I think has fizzled up. I'm trying to remember. I think the last time we saw anything to do with that, he was talking with his lackey in Victoria Gardens, who said, "Look, there's no way that I'm doing this." But whether the idea has completely, popped out of his head since then, or whether it's still potentially going to happen, is he going to choose the day of Carla and Lisa's wedding to try and burn down Chariot Square? I mean, that would be 2 birds with 1 stone for Coronation Street.
Well, you can't say 2 birds when they're getting married.
Very true. Yeah, killing 2 birds with 1 fire. No, I think that there's already the fact that there's going to be a murder found on the day of the wedding. I would say that everything else to do with the wedding is going to run pretty smoothly. I think that they want Swallow's wedding to be
a beautiful, joyous
and also,
occasion.
of course, forgetting the fact, so he can't possibly actually burn down the hotel because Betsy said it was a lovely day, didn't she?
Yes, we forgot that, So the wedding goes by without a hitch. Mm-hmm. At the moment, they've got a booking for Chariot Square. I'm not sure that means they're going to have it there.
Oh,
they could have it anywhere.
No, they won't change that.
They could have it anywhere.
Even the fact that Sean was talking to, was it Ryan about it today?
Well, I mean, people have had weddings. Think about Jenny and Johnny had their wedding.
Yeah, I know. And Roy and Hayley were supposed to be married one in a church and ended up in the cafe, but no.
Well...
Can you imagine Coronation Street's first police station wedding?
Yes.
I can totally imagine
sadly
that.
Can. Kevin and Tyrone, reasons. Ronnie obviously knows that he's been taking advantage of Debbie, although Debbie did kind of get one over on Carl today and put him in his place a bit by saying, I'm not as daft as you think I am. You've got to pay this off.
Yeah, you're right. So unless Carl does something else to try and get at Debbie in the next 2 weeks, Ronnie's unlikely to be so aggrieved by him that he bumps him off. You said about Kevin, now on the Flash Forward episode, in the past, or the present as it was then, Kevin said to Carl, "You're going to get what's coming to you," or words to that effect. There's been a few lines from various characters in the last few weeks, like with Maggie saying, "I die for my family. You've no idea what, I give my life for them." So, is she going to do that? No, but it's all, scattered into the scripts to make you remember that this murder is happening. I think that Kevin is definitely angry enough, or he could be angry enough.
Kevin gets angry about, the wrong tyre
but
being ordered.
What on earth could happen that makes Kevin any more angry? Like, he's fairly chill about it now, isn't he?
Whatever happens with this character is something new, okay? So with Maggie and Jodie, it's something that we don't know, that they've already done, because they've both got secret. Maggie's got this, Alan... it coming out about Alan, what Jodie got up to, and in Emmerdale, and people finding out about that. Carl, everything's on the table. We already know what he's done. There's no secrets. No, and
Kevin's not just going to kind of suddenly around, but actually, I really am quite annoyed about the fact that, for heaven's sake, Debbie's not even in prison anymore because of Carl's manipulations. So
he's stealing money. It's not really worked. He had this plan to burn down the hotel, and it got thwarted. Mm-hmm. So really, it's going to have to be something he does that's new.
Yeah, and unless he's like raided Debbie's bank account and that rucksack's full of euros off to Deutschland. I don't know. It feels like, yeah, you're right. In today's episode, he already did get caught out, but 2 weeks is a long time for more of a petty kind of criminal like him. I imagine he's not just going to sit there and lick his wounds.
No, he's going to come up with something. I mean, Ryan could be involved in this because obviously he's getting really annoyed with how badly he's getting Carl's getting away with it.
But after today's episode, Carl's not. I mean, he's probably not even going to be working at Chariot Square anymore. He could well be. Carl may want to take revenge on Ronnie, but But he's not the murderous type. I know even when he was planning to burn down Chariot Square, he was very careful about, what's the evacuation plan, how are we going to make sure everyone's safe. He's not that type of criminal, so I can't see him going and meeting up with Ronnie one night. And even if I wouldn't want to face Ronnie in a dark alley, because I'd definitely come out worse, and I think Carl would think that
beat
too.
You to death. I think that perhaps it wasn't altruistic what Carl was saying. It was more to do with the fact that if people die in this, we're going to get charged with a different crime than the one we were actually trying to commit.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think he was being a bit more canny.
But I don't
than nice.
I don't see Carl as being a bloodthirsty kind of person, so I don't think he would go and take a pop at Ronnie. No, that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? I really think it would. Theo is another...
Pound him to death.
Theo is another potential...
Yeah, there's a link there that we haven't even spoken about yet.
Yeah.
Because
Theo knows...
Carl
knows that Theo left Billy to die. And that is probably
a big thing.
Yeah, that's probably, to me, if Carl is going to be bumped off, it's more likely to be part of whatever downfall is happening in 2 weeks' time for Theo.
I said that it would be something new, but it could just be that. That's the thing that's hanging over both of them.
I mean, I don't know what's going to be happening with Theo over the next few weeks, but the way that storyline is progressing at the moment with George and Glenda and Sarah Louise and everyone trying to oust him from Todd's life, it could well be that in 2 weeks' time, that's all over. Theo's like, well, I've got nothing left to go for now. I'm going to... I'm going to do a runner, and Carl's like, hang on a minute, I know something about you.
Give me some money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, give me some cash, otherwise I'm going to let everybody know, especially, if Debbie's let him down and she's not giving him what he needs. He's obviously not got Fiona after him for any more than £5,000, but he could well have debts in other places.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just greedy and he's a bit of a chancer.
Well,
if I knew a secret about that and I was the sort of person that Carl is, I'd probably be trying to hit him up for some money as well.
Well, you know that Theo owns his own business and he's moving to Belfast, so you assume he's got a bit of cash. So you're like, well, how about you don't move to Belfast, you just give me your money.
Yeah, exactly. And if Theo and Todd are split up at that point, is Theo going to move to Belfast? The only reason he wants to go there at the moment is to get Todd away from the gang. He hasn't actually got a job over there. So if they're split up...
Do you think not?
No, he's more likely to be hanging around here. So I would say that is a more... Yeah, definitely something to watch to see if anything else brews up between those two. Other people in the anti-Carl brigade, you got Ben a little bit, who got Carl's number pretty soon after rocking up on the street last year.
I think he's got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, he absolutely does. He absolutely does. And Abby as well, of course. Now, she can be very volatile. And although I'd again like to say I don't see her as being a killer, I would say that she could be.
Yeah.
She could kind of go that one step too far because she's not always responsible for her own actions. But I think unlikely.
Sally Carmen did dye her hair recently. Maybe she's not in Corrie anymore.
You're absolutely right. Or maybe Abby dyes her hair brown, or sorry, it's a bit redder, isn't it, to go incognito.
And Betsy,
as a disguise.
Betsy, the actress who plays Betsy dyed her hair brown from blonde. Could she do it? Because she was the murderer who found the body.
Maybe. That would be the big twist, wouldn't it? If
Betsy's
the killer.
That would be great.
Because she looked upset in that flash forward, but it could just be because she found the body.
And here's a really good
she
question.
Made the body.
What would Lisa do? I bet she would try to get her out of it. I bet she wouldn't be the perfect cop, she'd try to save Betsy.
Kit would definitely be there saying, "Come on, Lisa, I'll tell you how it's done. I'll tell you how we can get Betsy away with murder." I mean,
or he'd be like, "I want your promotion."
It wouldn't surprise me one way or the other whether Betsy is or isn't the killer. It wouldn't surprise me if she is accused of being the killer at one point, because it's like how Frank Foster, when he was killed, Sally found him. She was the one that was...
It's like Pat Phelan with Ken being pushed down the stairs. Everyone thought it was him.
Exactly. It's been done before, so I think Betsy will be treated with some suspicion by the police when it happens. Anyway, going back, so we're talking about Carl. So other people that were involved that don't particularly have beef with him, I mean, Sally, somewhat, because she saw him trying to get money out of Debbie. I think she's so far removed that I don't think she's worth considering, really. James as well. Things seem to have gone a bit cold there. He
was even in it.
I mean, he might still be smarting after that fairly short-lived... It's not even a relationship, really, was it? Bunk up, buddy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've also got Debbie. Could she kill her own son whilst not knowing what she's doing?
I know, I was thinking about this, and I'm really not sure, because I don't know enough about early onset dementia or vascular dementia, which is what she's got, and I also don't know what Corrie wants to do with how realistic they want to portray this, but she has had these fugue states, or like, you know, with absence seizures. I don't know. She has bursts of temper.
Yeah, she does. She absolutely does. I mean, physically, she's not imposing, but, you know, stick a knife in her hand.
Yeah.
You never know. And I think that would be a neat way of her probably getting away with it as well. She's already been to prison once.
They're like, they're not going to send her.
The writers won't send her in again. It'd feel like she's getting away with it, and in the same way as Kylie got away with killing Callum.
I know, that's the other thing.
Fate caught up with her at some point. Just like Fate, we know is going to catch up with Debbie.
That's the other thing about it. Whoever it is that is the killer or the victim, you know, somebody could cover for them and go to prison. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Toya or Leanne to cover for Sam.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Okay, so Carl, his chances of being bumped off then, I would say that his time on the show is running out one way or another, wouldn't you?
I enjoy him, but I do think he's going around in circles at the moment. Since Corriedale, I think he's just doing the same old stuff, you know, hanging around, menacing Debbie out of money. Now she's sort of given him a bit of a, you know, I'm not as dumb as you think I am speech. He's kind of realised that there's not a lot. Like, what is the point of him now? He's been ostracised by Kevin. Debbie's kind of keeping him at arm's length. That relationship has got a time limit now, unfortunately.
And I don't think there's any redeeming him as a character, and I don't think people are wanting him redeemed particularly. He's been scamming who he thought was his sister, but was actually his mum. Swapping her over in the seat at Corriedale was pretty unforgivable in the eyes of many Corrie viewers. I don't think there's many people that are going to be that upset if he is, you know, if we are saying goodbye to him in a couple of weeks.
There's no point in that even coming out now because she's out of prison. That's all feels like. The only reason I can think of that would come out is because what Summer was saying today about kind of working out that maybe Debbie wasn't actually in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I think there is going to be a bit more investigation, otherwise they wouldn't have had Summer be told that by Abby.
If Debbie, if Summer starts to unravel this, she could definitely be a good suspect for him, because just kind of like with Carl, I do like Summer more than I have. But again, she feels very isolated. Billy's dead. Todd is in an abusive relationship and is kind of ignoring her. I don't really know where she work. What's she doing?
She's doing education, isn't she?
She lives in a flat by herself that hasn't been seen on screen for months.
Yeah, that's a really good call, actually.
She does need something to happen. She needs a relationship, a partner, a family.
We saw how furious she was at Debbie when she thought that Debbie was responsible for Billy's death. I mean, setting aside the fact that I don't believe that either. I know it's obviously Theo, but I don't believe that Carl is responsible for the crash that killed Billy either. That was squarely Becky and John, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. They've got away with it.
In a way, one of them's dead, one of them's in prison for something else. But anyway, that aside, I think that, I wouldn't want to be Carl. Although Carl's not going to be intimidated by Summer, is he? But, if she finds out that it's him, then that could be a very good reason for why he needs to go and do a flit. Although if I was Summer and Carl did disappear off one day to Germany or whatever, I wouldn't be like, I'm not going to bother chasing him now.
She hasn't got a lot going for her.
Not really. I think that should be her next project, to be honest. So possibly Summer involved there. But anyway, as I was saying, I think that Carl has got a relatively short shelf life remaining on the show. Is that going to be 2 weeks? Is that 2 months? I don't know. But I don't see him being in the show at the end of this year for sure. So it could well be that, he's one that's bumped off. I think that the story's been going on a year now, and him being killed would kind of put quite a neat bow on it, really. There's also, we said when the flash forward happened, I think, that he was less likely to be killed because there's still some loose ends her being his mum. But now she's out, if they want to tie any of those up in the next couple of weeks, they probably very easily can.
Yeah.
So again, another reason why Carl's not particularly needed on the show anymore. It would also mean that Debbie's exit is more about the dementia and not about family drama. It's already been, derailed a little bit, like all health stories seem to be. Particularly Paul's one recently, derailed by other dramas. This would be one less family drama to get in the way of what we really want to see. Well, we don't want to see it at all, but we'd rather see, which is how is Debbie struggling and how is she getting worse, and how is that affecting her personally, and not, is she getting scammed? Mm-hmm. So that would be another good reason to get rid of Carl. I don't need him round her bedside when she's on her last legs. Also, the fact that he's not been in it a whole lot recently could well mean that
they're resting him for a big story.
Yeah, exactly. Now, quite often when the big bads go, they have a little bit of time off, and then they have their last hurrah. Going. If we, we're calling it the Bookies, and apparently a late runner is what you call a horse that hangs back a little bit and then gives a final push in the final furlong. Is this the beginning of the final furlong for Carl? Quite probably, or not quite possibly. I'm not going to say probably, but possibly. And I think if he were to die, that could spiral off a few interesting things with the other Websters, particularly Debbie, who's only just revealed herself to be his mum. So that opens up some opportunities for stories there. Even some of the other Websters possibly. I think that there's definitely reasons why it could be him. But on the flip side, you got why couldn't it be him, or why might it not be him? A murder is often, and again we're saying murder, but it's not necessarily, a grisly death is often reserved for the worst of the worst villains, isn't it? The actual murderers themselves. And because Carl isn't that bad of a bad guy in that sense, maybe whatever nobody deserves to die like this style death isn't befitting for him.
No, he's not done, he hasn't killed anybody, he's just...
He's been a low-level menace.
What he's done to Debbie has been with her full knowledge and consent. And you can say, talk about coercion and manipulation as much as you want, but Debbie knows what he's doing to her. She knows that he swapped the seats over. She knows that he's taking money and he doesn't actually need it.
The affair's all come out months ago.
It's nothing he's done is sort of... It's all just kind of small fry.
But obviously some of the low key villains do get bumped off, but it's not like he's no Richard Hillman or Pat Phelan, or the kind of soap baddie who justice never seems to put behind bars and always kills off. So maybe not for him. And although I would like for him not to be around for the end of the dementia story, because I don't want him getting in the way, I don't want more family drama, Corrie could, on the other hand, say, well, no, the Websters are still going to be quite big in the show in 2026. Debbie's going to be getting worse. Do they really want to do it without Carl there? Maybe not. Also, just completely, and this is off-screen stuff, Jonathan Howard, who plays Carl, was recently seen out and about on the town with Sue Devaney and Sally Carman going to see Sarah Poyser, who plays Fiona in the West End. So he's clearly in touch with current cast members, still hanging out with them. Is that because he's still on the cast? Maybe, but not necessarily. The fact that they had scenes together, the fact that she's now in Mamma Mia on the West End, they could have booked tickets for this back when he was on the show, if he has indeed left. So I don't know how strong that evidence is, but it's something that some of the fans I've seen have been chatting about on Twitter. So I'm putting Carl as a 2-1. Possible. That's really
high.
But
I think you mean 5-1. Because you've still got 2 more people. You've got Theo and Megan.
Yeah, I know, but it's all fine because the odds can go the other way.
Okay, all right.
You can start putting the bigger number next. That's 2-1 is still 2-1 is still not less than 50-50. I think. Hey, this is why I'm not a bookie. But yeah, 2-1 to Carl. Not completely out of the question, but I think that there are some stronger contenders for sure, such as Theo, who I think is the second most likely person to be bumped off.
Yeah, I think so.
What I haven't kind of asked you. What do you think of the order? Are you generally in agreement of least likely to likely that I've come up with? Obviously, this means Megan, I still think, is going to be the most likely to be killed off.
So you think Jodie's least, and then Maggie, then Carl, then Theo, and then Megan's the most likely. Yeah. I think I've been on the Megan train for a long time. At the moment, I know we're not talking about her yet, but I can't see how she gets out of the show without being killed.
I mean, prison is the other thing, isn't it? But I don't know. Anyway, let's park Megan for a moment and talk about Theo. What did we see in the flash forward?
Well, as usual, looking a bit shifty. He's standing outside the flat. He's got bleeding on his forehead, right? And he's just looking around a bit furtive.
Yeah, bleeding on the right-hand side, which I thought was interesting, because that would mean that if somebody attacked him, more likely to have attacked him with their left hand.
Oh, Michael, you're becoming a detective.
And yeah, I don't know, but I think...
Hang on, look, this is my right, go on.
Yeah,
right hand.
Attacking you with my left hand.
You just hit me.
So, yeah, don't worry, she's not bleeding. But yeah, sorry, that was only a little tap. Abby's a witness to this. Yeah, so I mean, who's left-handed on the street? I don't bloody know. But that was the evidence that took down Tracy when she was killed in court, wasn't it? So
she wasn't killed in court.
When she killed Charlie, I mean. So I don't know. Yet again with Theo, like with some of the others, and we didn't even talk about this with Carl particularly, there has been a confrontation. Carl is 100% going to get into a scuffle of some sort with somebody, isn't he?
Yeah.
On the week. So he's not going to get away scot-free with this. He's going to be in a fight. It's whether or not somebody comes back for round 2 with him. Theo, again, somebody has attacked him or he's walked into a cupboard.
Wow.
I don't know, maybe. So you might want to think who's left-handed, does it make a difference? I'm trying to picture Carl now. I can't predict. I think it was Carl's right eye. No, his left eye, sorry, that was bruised, which would mean whoever's punched Carl is a right-hander, right? So, I don't know, maybe some people need to look into whether Todd is left or right-handed, or whether we're looking too much into it at the moment. But whatever, Theo's been attacked. He seems fine, just a bit shifty. Does somebody come and finish him off? I don't know. Todd is obviously the biggest suspect for somebody who's got the biggest axe to grind against Theo, or who could well do if he suddenly, or if not suddenly, eventually manages to piece things together in the next couple of weeks. We saw in the flash forward episode, he was washing this knife, wasn't he? And I know that was back in the past, but is that a clue that we saw that knife back in February? That knife is then used to kill Theo on April the 23rd. Definitely could happen. Todd could suddenly realise, he could flip, he could...
Well, yeah, I mean, at the moment, he's not... he feels as though he is trying to protect Theo from all these accusations and that they love each other and it'll be okay if they move. So
it's so difficult to know what's going on inside his head. Like, does he think that, or is he just saying that to keep Theo happy because he can't find the strength within himself to escape?
Yeah, and it is possible that he Theo could attack him, and Todd defends himself.
Yeah, and we saw recently when Theo had that knife up to Todd's throat.
And if
that happens again, and then Todd pushes him away or something, could that be?
But if you think about what happened with Jeff and Yasmin attacked Jeff with a bottle, and it really was just luck that he didn't die from that. So it could be like that kind of thing.
Well, if Theo's holding a knife in his right hand coming at Todd pushes him back, then his own right hand could go off and he could be responsible for his own cut on his forehead, couldn't he? And that would make sense for it being on the right hand.
Yeah, but whoever it is that's left-handed or whatever happens, that's not what kills him.
No, it's not. Absolutely.
But it could be a red herring that the person who is responsible and lets him live comes back and finishes the job. Yeah,
it's whether they do that, or does he kind of stumble out into, I don't know, let's say Gary, for example, who he's already got one body under his, hasn't he, with Rick Neelan. Does he bump into Gary? Gary finds out, what on earth happened to you? It was Todd. Todd attacked me. Gary's like, no, he doesn't. I don't buy any of that. You came after Todd with a knife. I'm going to finish you off.
I mean, Gary's done this to Pat Phelan and Rick Neelan now.
What did he do to Pat Phelan?
Well, he tied him up and put him in the builder's yard.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he?
He's like, right,
we're hit him over the head with that plank that one time.
Yeah, we're going for a spin in my car. You can end up in the Greg Woods.
I think that...
Not that Betsy would find him there.
I think that it would put Gary squarely back, where he feels he belongs. He wants to be a good guy, but he also wants to be a tough guy, doesn't he?
Yeah, but again, this would be being a villain for good. So would Corrie let him get away with it?
Yeah, I
think
that's
what happened to Callum. Kylie killed Callum because he was trying to attack Sarah.
Yeah, and she got away with it.
Yeah,
Gary's killed Rick Neelan. He's got away with it. Gary killed Rana and he got away with it. Maybe that wasn't villainy for good. But I think that if we want to have a main character be the killer here, and I think we all do, then Gary could be quite high up in the potential of bumper offers here, couldn't he? Because he's definitely got it within him. And he last year was having that masculinity crisis, wasn't he? What better way to show his manliness than by killing the person with the biggest arms on the street? That's going to make him feel really tough.
I'm pretty sure there was an aftershave advert like that.
I don't know many other people involved in Theo's story who would really have it in them to kill him, because there's lots of people in the anti-Theo brigade, aren't there? But are any of those really going to turn killers?
No, they're all softies, aren't they? George is a gentle giant. Christina, Glenda and Sarah, all, women. Sarah was involved in Callum's death. She was there when he was killed, but she wasn't, she just hid the body. They don't feel like they would be aggressive enough to sort of instigate something. It doesn't mean that they couldn't kill him in self-defense, but Theo is a large guy. He's very muscly. I wouldn't think any of those individually. Could they unite?
Could they do a murder on the Orient Express?
They could do.
Murder on the Weatherfield Wayfarer, maybe. I suppose Summer's up for contention here as well, isn't she? We already said that she could be possible for Carl's murder if she finds out about what happened with the crash. But, if she discovers that crash wasn't actually what killed Billy, it was Theo, and this is a secret that is surely going to explode. Because I also think that Theo's time on the show, like Carl's, is very much running out. I don't feel like his character's going to be here one way or another in 6 months' time. If it runs out in 2 weeks, then this secret's going to come out soon.
It would be funny if Summer killed Carl, and as he was dying, he went, "It wasn't me, it was Theo," and then she went, "Right, I'm going to kill Theo," and killed Theo.
She could go on the rampage. She'd be like the bride, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Well, racking around the head with a robot.
Well, we've got it, we've can't.
Got the robot. She can't use this one. Though potentially Summer, but again, I don't see Corrie making Summer into a murderer, even if it is a murder for good.
It just doesn't. I don't know.
She's too bland. She's too nice.
I don't know.
But then you could say that about Toya, I suppose.
Well, exactly.
You could.
They're both, good girls, aren't they?
Toya's got a bit more fight and, she's got a bit of the Battersby blood in her, and Summer really, really doesn't.
No.
So I
don't think Drew was a fighter.
No, I don't see Summer actually taking it, again, unless it's an accident. And Summer does feel like she's drifting a little bit on the cobbles at the moment. So is this it'd be a real shame for the character. It would be look how far that she's fallen, that she's gone out a killer. It's like, oh, come on, Corrie, if they were going to do that.
I mean, and if we're talking about real world things, then Harriet Bibby's been in that
Rachel Corrie
production. So she's not. She's taken time out for that.
She has taken time out of Coronation Street recently. That's very, very true. Is this a permanent exit? Is this
transitioning into a theatre career?
Yes, or is it just a case of she's been been in prison on the show until the trial comes up, and she's using that time to go and do this.
I think Corrie is letting people do more extracurricular activities recently, so you can't really read into somebody going off and doing something different like, oh, that means they're not in the show anymore. That's definitely not the case. It would have been in the past, but you can't read that into it now.
No, especially with the rumours of the pay cuts and everything. So maybe it wouldn't if Theo is the victim, and there is a whodunit. I definitely think that Summer would be among the suspects.
Yeah. She'll be in the picture.
Yeah,
the soap mag picture.
Yeah, and would she be arrested and questioned because of it? Yes, I would definitely think so.
I'd ask her some questions.
Yeah. We've also got the characters like Danielle and Miles and Millie, who could come back.
I wouldn't be happy if it was them, because they've just not been in it. It's got to be a solid. You've got to sacrifice, something to make this a good story. And I don't think that those characters are.
You might say, well, that's justice. He started with that family, so it's only right that the family are the one that bring an end to his life, and he did completely turn Danielle's life upside down.
But none of those characters are likeable enough for you to feel justified. Like, oh, good, I'm glad they got their own back.
I really did enjoy Danielle when she found out about how he was going out with Todd, though.
I think they're all fun to watch, but they're not likeable.
No, I think you're right, and it feels like we said with some of the other options here today, would be a bit of a damp squib if it turns out to be a no-name character.
Well, they're not no names, but they're just not.
Yeah, exactly.
If they suddenly turn up tomorrow, then I start being suspicious. Anyone who turns up in the next week, 2 weeks, definite.
Yeah,
suspicion.
Keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
We obviously talked about Theo and Carl's relationship and the secrets they knew about each other when we were talking about Carl. So Carl knows that Theo killed Billy. Theo knows that Carl was responsible for the people that robbed the hotel a couple of months back. Although he doesn't realise that that's what it was, I think.
No, but he knows that he's got something on him, and he's not quite sure what it is.
I think that there is, without a doubt, because they know something about each other, if one or the other one is going to be bumped off in a couple of weeks, both of those secrets have got to come out between now and then. And there's lots of secret dropping been happening recently, so it wouldn't surprise me if that does indeed come out.
So exciting.
So I think, I've said that I think that Theo is quite likely, but not the most likely, to be killed off, and you agreed with my list. Why would you put him so high?
Theo, because he is definitely one of the most...
He's been the big bad on Corrie, really, the biggest big bad.
Megan and he are both irredeemable villains. I think that, you know, you're going up... Carl, okay, you know, Maggie, whatever, Jodie.
She's just a bit nasty.
You know, like these two characters have actually done something illegal. I know that Maggie, you can argue about what happened.
But Theo's literally got a body, and you can't say that about Megan. He killed Billy.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that puts him the biggest bad, even over Megan, in this last year. And she's still only been in the show, 4 or 5 months or so. He's been in it for a year. He's been the villain of the year, if you like. Sorry, Becky Swain. Although we know we gave her the wrong award. But he's been the nastiest, most hateful villain. And Becky's was more of an annoyance, wasn't she? For some people.
There's precedence for being killed off for being an abuser with Jeff.
Yes.
There isn't anybody who's ever been like Megan in the show, so we don't, but I think that death is a suitable punishment for her.
John State with Rosie Webster. Theo definitely feels like the sort of villain that Corrie would like to kill off, and I think your comparison with Jeff is very apt, because there are definite similarities to be drawn there, and as much as everybody said, oh, I don't need Jeff to be killed off, let him rot behind bars. And I'm sure that lots of people would say that about Theo as well. I wouldn't be adverse to Theo spending the rest of his life behind bars. Oh, it's not lifetime punishment, is it? I know it is if he's found out that he's killed Billy. Although I wouldn't be adverse to that. I'd also it'd be quite satisfying to see the body bag being drawn up in him as well. Any other reasons why you think that Theo is on the more likely side to go?
Well, just like the other characters that we've spoken about before, I just can't see him being in the show. Like, not only are they villains, Megan and Theo, but they also are real limited shelf life villains. Like, Carl could any of these other characters could be like, oh, I rescued a kitten from a railway track, and you'd be like, oh, that's sweet, let them get away with it. There's no way that Theo and Maggie and Megan are going to be in the show in 6 months or a year.
I think that...
So they might as well kill them.
I think in terms of who feels like they've got not much shelf life left, I would say that Carl and Theo are the ones that are the strongest there. Megan could still keep going. I don't think she will, obviously.
No, I think that both of those characters are dead or in prison.
I'm only saying that because Megan has only been in the show a short amount of time. But Theo, you're right, he's been in it, long enough. It feels like people have been calling for an end to this storyline for a while anyway. Not that Corrie would listen to that. This has clearly been planned out for a long time.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
They're both abusive, and I think that that's unforgivable on Coronation Street.
I think that Theo being killed off would be a quite quick and uncomplicated end to his and Todd's marriage as well.
Yeah.
Not that they always need to worry about that. Again, bringing up Becky and Lisa here. 2 weeks to get that divorce, you two.
It is kind of disappointing that they technically had the first successful gay marriage on Coronation Street.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, they did.
Well, I mean, do you not count Billy and Paul as a success, or is it just
because
because one
right.
of them was dead
you're right.
after a year later?
Right, that's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, Carla and Lisa will have the first lesbian wedding that's successable.
Also, we think.
Well, we know that.
I know we do because Betsy
said it's fine. So okay, I'll take it back then. Yeah, but they do need to do something about it. If you go to prison for abusing somebody,
that doesn't automatically annul the marriage.
Yeah, but you'd think that there are certain things that can happen in a relationship where you can just go, I want a divorce, and you can't contest it. That's it. It's over with. And I think that if one of the people is in prison for abusing the other one, it should, there shouldn't be any.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Anything in, but I don't know what the real case of the matter is. But yeah, you're right. It would be immediately over. It would be almost like it never happened.
We've also got the whole imminent Belfast move to consider. Now,
They're not going to Belfast.
They're not going to Belfast, are they? It's been like thrown out there like the Joel and Lauren one was.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I don't know how quickly in the plot they're saying they're going to move to Belfast.
Before the 23rd of April.
It feels like, it's something that Theo wants to happen quite quickly.
I think Theo
and so there's something has to stop that. And if Theo's still alive, although I did say also it's not out the question that Todd comes to his senses and dumps Theo again between, in the next couple of weeks. But if they are still together by the 23rd of April, well, something's got to stop them going to Belfast, and a dead husband can certainly do that.
I think it's possible that Theo's going to Belfast anyway, because I know you said they're only going to escape the scrutinous eyes of, and you don't think he's got a job there. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he does have a job lined up there, and I also think he would still go. I think he wants to get out of Weatherfield because he's been rumbled.
Yeah, maybe. I think that
any one of these characters also could do a runner on the 23rd and come back later like Pat Phelan did.
Yeah, that's not wrong. So there's lots of good reasons why it could be him. Why it might not be him. Again, does he deserve justice rather than death? Could this kind of buck the trend of what we've been talking about this type of villain usually ending up 6 feet under? I don't know. I would also say that if Theo was killed off, and maybe I'm just not being particularly imaginative, there's maybe a bit not so much potential for a whodunit afterwards. But I'm not sure who would do it.
Theo?
Like we've said about, there's lots of people that,
Yeah. I do think...
There's people who don't like him, but how many of those would actually kill? Not many. Todd could be pushed to it.
Summer,
Gary would need a bit less pushing.
Todd, Summer. I said Summer twice.
Yeah. And because it's not going to be George or Sarah Louise or Christina or Maria or anyone like that.
You ruined my wedding outfit.
So I think that there's possibly a lack of potential for a whodunit if he dies.
But we don't know that that's what they're going for. We're just assuming.
Yeah, it would make storyline plotting sense for that to happen, wouldn't it? There's also the fact that everything that went on with Owen in that relationship, that the guy that he met in Canal Street, and it feels a bit untapped. Yeah, is there more to be revealed there?
No,
and would that make more sense if Theo was alive?
No, that was just there to let us know that this isn't the first time he's done something like this. That was literally the only purpose. The only thing I can see of why that would come back is if Owen warned Todd, but Todd should, if Todd doesn't know from his own experience, he's not going to listen to Owen.
The other thing, why it might not be Theo, is when Betsy said nobody deserves to die like that. If Betsy knows what Theo is like by the time this happens, and certainly it feels like a lot of the street are, even if they're not fully paid up members of Team Todd and anti-Theo, they're certainly starting to believe that Theo's a bit of a wrong un. Betsy saying he doesn't deserve to die like that feels like it's something that might be said to somebody who appears more innocent, or somebody that Betsy could relate to, which is why I think, as horrible as she is, she could still be saying that about Megan, couldn't she?
I don't know.
Because she is a fellow blonde woman like me.
No, it depends on how horrible the death is.
Yeah, but Theo, being a bad guy, being the villain that everyone potentially by the 23rd of April might want to see the back of, I don't know whether she would get as upset about it being him.
I totally think that's correct. In real life, I think that she would feel a lot more sympathy to somebody who looks like her. Because I'm sorry, but that's how humans are. If we can relate to somebody, we find it easier to sympathise with them. So in real life, yes, but because this is a soap, and that line really felt to me like it was in service of the plot and to make us prick our ears up and think, oh, how dramatic. I don't think that really Betsy would have said that about Megan or Theo, no matter what. I think that she, I think she would be she's not that much older than Will, or that, that age group of people who could have been preyed upon. She can think back to what it was like when she was just a few years younger and think, oh God, or she probably had, weird things happen to her when she, adults being inappropriate to her. And with Theo, he's not relatable at all to a girl like Betsy. She's lived her life with mums. She hasn't really had a big, strong, like, masculine role model in her life. Right. He's kind of a bit of a blank space as far as she's concerned. He's a roughy tufty man who does building work. Who would she know like that in her life? I'm not saying that you can't ever empathise with somebody who's outside of your sphere of experience, but it's certainly a lot more difficult.
Yeah, so that's a potential reason why it's, again, possibly not him. And I'm still saying I think it's going to be Megan. So these bits that I'm putting forward to say why it might not be him, I think that for me it's quite compelling evidence. I would maybe go evens for him, going back to our Bookies parlance here. So 50-50, maybe not. But I think really Megan is the one who's going to be pushing up the daisies in a week and a half, 2.5 weeks time. I don't want this to just feel like recency bias, because this is the story that's been, in the past week grabbing all the headlines for Coronation Street, because we've been saying this all along, haven't we? But I think that Megan is definitely, in my eyes, the most likely the one that's going to be bumped off.
See, I think it's too obvious it's her, but I think
I may have well been falling into that trap.
Here's my hot take. There's going to be 2 deaths.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, and she will definitely be one of them.
If it's 2 deaths, then I'm going to say her and Theo.
She'll die first, and you'll think, oh wow, and then someone else will die. Now, when we first saw her in this flashback, she's all dolled up. And she was, her hair pretty, fringe, and lipstick and stuff, and we thought, oh, maybe she's been invited to the wedding. Now, I know that Carla wants a big do, but I do think that she will draw the line at inviting the local paedophile.
Yeah, I think that might be a bit of a conflict of interest in some way for Lisa and her policewoman's job as well.
We don't have to have a DBS check to go to a wedding, Michael.
Well, this is Jodie with a DBS check, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Oh, okay. I don't think she's going along to the wedding for sure.
So what's she dressed up for? This is the thing, right? Because we thought that she was going to the wedding, or maybe she was going out on a date with Daniel. There's no way she's going out with Daniel.
No.
And there's no way she's going to the wedding. Is she dolled up for a new victim? For Will?
I can't imagine they're going to bring a new victim about in the next 2 weeks. But Will maybe, because she's definitely, still. But then why on earth would she be on the street when she knows that everyone's baying for her blood?
Did she get dropped off? Is she running? Did she not mean to go there? Why would she be anywhere near?
What we see in the flash forward is that she's outside the salon, and she's looking.
Just got her hair done.
Yeah, exactly. She's looking up at the fireworks, or maybe she's looking up at the salon flat,
which is where Leanne and Sam are.
Yeah. So I wonder, could there be any reason why she's been there? And she's got a bloodied nose. So, again, victim or not of the murder, we know that somebody has had a pop at her. So, what I've been saying all along is I think somebody is going to attack her, is going to give her a bloodied nose, and then Maggie quite probably is going to bump her off, and that's what Maggie's looking satisfied about, and then whoever it was that punched her is going to be the one that gets the blame. Possibly, I said earlier that Sam is going to see something or think he's seen something, so he could well be tied up in all this as well. I think if she's looking up at the salon flat, has Leanne had a go at her maybe, and then she's kind of run out the flat?
Why would she be in there? See, I've got an idea.
Go on.
I think maybe... Now, we know that she is not so stupid as to think that she could seduce Sam.
No, of course.
But she was onto this concept of blaming Sam for being a pervert, for having this video camera. Yeah. And that's the only really piece of evidence they've got at all. That Sam put a camera into the room.
Right.
Now, Sam is starting to suffer from paranoia and hallucinations.
Oh, yeah.
She could start to say that it was because he had these paranoid hallucinations. She could doll herself up and go up there and then make out that Sam was confused and trying to come onto her, that building into that. accusation of like saying that he's the pervert, he's the one that's coming after me. Doll herself up and then be like, Sam, what are you doing? What do you mean? How could you? I don't believe you're doing this to me.
Yeah. So are we suggesting that Sam is the one that gives her the bloody nose in this scenario?
He could lash out thinking something's happening that isn't happening.
Yeah.
And then if she gets found dead, that would give Toya and Leanne something to do to defend Sam, who actually is innocent. He's got his GCSEs coming up.
I think that having Sam, I know obviously he's not going to murder Megan, but I think having Sam being suspected of murdering Megan because he's the one that bops her on the nose, and maybe Leanne and Toya see that. That's got potential.
If he knew he did it, he would definitely say he did it.
Yes, I think so.
Like, a bit like Roy, like he wouldn't lie and say, he would say, look, I did hit her, but I didn't kill her.
Yeah, but I think that if he's going to be suffering these paranoia attacks, then he might not know what he's doing.
Here's another
idea. And he might
idea.
think that he's killed her when actually he's just given her a bit of a nosebleed and then Maggie's finished her off.
Here's another, yeah, that's possible. Here's another idea. All of these flash forwards were Sam's hallucinations.
What on earth? I don't even know
I still cannot work out why is she dolled up on Corrie on Coronation Street.
How dolled up is she?
Very dolled up. She's normal because she's a PE teacher, so she's gonna have to have showers quite frequently. She's not gonna wear lots of makeup. So every time we see her, she's wearing very subtle makeup, but it's not supposed to be really dolled up and super not nice.
Yeah.
But she's made an effort. She straightened her hair, which is a pain in the arse that you don't understand.
No.
And she's got like bright lipstick on, right? These are all things that take a while to do.
So you keep talking.
I know, I can see you out the corner of my eye.
I'm doing the sort of thing that you like to do on the podcast, which is letting me talk where you find a clip or a Google or something.
So
I am.
When I'm
because
trying
I don't
to
particularly
think,
remember that, but maybe it's just not the sort of thing I've noticed.
There's only a few things I can think of. Now we know that she's not dating Daniel and she's not going to the wedding, as to why she would be dolled up and why would she be on Coronation Street. She's trying to make an alibi for herself by dating somebody new. She's got a new victim, or she's trying to make Sam look bad.
See, I've just found her, and I wouldn't say that she looks especially dolled up. I'd say
She
that
does.
Jodie looks more dolled up.
No,
than
she's
her.
got smoky eye and she's got a very dark, plummy, kind of dark red lipstick on, Michael. She doesn't wear that normally.
Okay,
It's very sexy for a paedophile. Oh dear, take that out. No, I think that she's up to something, isn't she? She was doing some kind of seduction. Is she trying to get Daniel back?
I think she knows that that's a lost cause there. I really, really don't know. Let's look at who's got beef with her at the moment. So, this is a fairly long list because she is, as you said, the local paedophile. So, Maggie clearly has got it out for Megan's blood. She has said, I don't have enough fight left in me now, but that could all change. And we can see that on the flash forward, she has certainly, from the look in Maggie's eyes, still got some fight in her.
Yeah, definitely.
She said, I'll do anything to keep my grandson away from vile predators like you. Is that anything killing her? I'm going to say yes.
Keep your filthy, deviant hands off me, which I think is a quote that will live forever in my brain.
Well, there we go. I think that she's number one suspect, to be honest. Ben, equally, has said, if anyone lays a finger on my son, they won't live to tell the tale. She's laid more than a finger on his son, and he knows that now.
He's an old-fashioned kind of a guy who I think would not hit a woman.
But again, we've seen him lash out. We've seen him kind of... He's got a temper. I agree that...
I think he might. Maybe he could punch her, but I don't think he'd kill her.
I wonder whether you might say that
because
about...
he's a male chauvinist pig. And I think equal rights for women.
I wonder whether you might have also said that about Jim, that he's an old-fashioned guy who wouldn't hit a woman. But then when it came out about her affair with Johnny Johnson, he certainly did that.
Oh, you would say that he's an old-fashioned guy that wouldn't ever have an affair. But then it turned out he fathered another child.
Whatever. So does Ben, could he be walking in his newly discovered Da's footsteps and turn his hand to killing Megan? Quite possibly. And again, if we're looking for a whodunit afterwards, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's in the frame.
Let's just say something that we haven't said yet at all at any point. Whoever it is that kills this person leaves the body there. And I think that's actually quite a significant point. They leave the body there. They make no attempt to hide it or take it somewhere else or bury it unless they are interrupted by Betsy and possibly Lauren finding the body.
Yeah. So it's either they're interrupted or they're leaving it there to frame somebody.
Yeah, which is why Maggie's quite a strong contender.
Exactly.
For being the murderer, not the victim.
Yeah, and equally, how strong is Maggie? Could she actually get rid of a body? I don't know, but I don't think she. I don't. Yeah, I don't know whether she'd risk it unless she was trying to put someone else in the frame here.
I think the fact the body's still there means that the plan, it's either planned and the idea was to frame somebody, or it wasn't planned and they were interrupted. Because you wouldn't plan to kill somebody and then not have any idea what to do with the body unless you were going to frame.
No, that's really, really good point as well, yeah. Or equally, is it a horrific accident? Does a car drive past, knock them to the curb and then didn't even realise what's going on? That's definitely a possibility as well.
That would be quite anticlimactic.
Yeah, for sure it would. So I don't think they're going to go down that road. And also,
are these trackers ever going to come up and back into it? Because both Theo and Maggie have trackers.
Yeah,
Could Theo be tracking Todd, and then Todd leaves his phone somewhere, somebody else picks it up, and then he attacks the person with his phone? Could Maggie be tracking who she thinks is Will, and it's, Megan's taken his bag?
Because Maggie's tracker seemed to came and went in one episode, didn't it? But because Will found it really quickly, so it could be used. It's a little AirTag sort of thing.
It's a token. It's not on someone's phone.
Although anybody could use that. Will said he threw it away, didn't he?
But did he?
Did he? Or does it come in a packet of two? And she's got another one that she can use.
Yeah,
it feels like that could come into play if they wanted it to, because I think that they could have done everything that they did with the tracker without there being a tracker. She could have just literally tailed him to the precinct.
Yeah.
So, that's a really good point, that the tracker may well come into it again. Speaking of Will, he could, I believe, absolutely be pushed to kill Megan if he has some kind of epiphany, Tim style, between now and the 23rd of April, don't you think? Because he's a volatile young lad.
If he feels like he's, as Maggie told him, the latest in a long line of victims, if he thinks that it was Megan who killed, who terminated his child and made him think his nan did it, that could be a motivation.
Yeah, he exactly. I mean, she could
be having a date with another boy, and that's why she's dolled up. Although why she would go, meet me at the corner of Coronation Street.
I think it would be incredibly risky for her to be preying on anybody else right now. If he finds out that she had this baby aborted, that's enough.
That's what I just said.
That's enough, isn't it? No, I know. And that's certainly not unlikely to come out in the next couple of weeks, I would say. In fact, I would almost put that a dead cert.
I just don't think
he's not going to be feeling any of those lovey-dovey feelings for her in 3 weeks' time.
One of the strongest reasons for thinking Megan is the one to die is that I do think there's nowhere really for the character to go. I think the story's played out. I don't think there's much more we can do with her. What can happen now? It's all come out. The only thing that can really happen is that Will realises what happens, and that would be the perfect motivation. Yeah,
I just think that there's a much stronger for potential whodunit list as well. It could be Maggie, could be Ben, could be Will. Even Eva could be on the list. It's not going to be her, but she could be,
Yeah, definitely.
Woman scorned and, stepson Will. Daniel. Absolutely.
He's pushed
very
people
volatile.
Down the stairs, left, right and centre.
Yeah, for sure.
And he still lives in a flat with stairs.
He has got a massive potential to crack.
A bungalow to sort of help him resist the urge.
Mm-hmm. Leanne and Toya could be on the suspect list, both of which I, could. I don't think they won't. Although I might have said that about Toya before, that they would never make her a killer. And you know what? She's still walking free with one body on her body count. But I mean, you could make a joke and say, Toya's already killed off Imran, so what's Megan to her?
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going down that route. I think it's very unlikely. But it could well open up, if Toya is a suspect in the whodunit, could well open up the whole, because Abby kind of knows, doesn't she?
Abby does know.
Abby.
It came up at Christmas.
It came up at Christmas at Gail's. 2 Christmases ago.
Yes.
And even as I say, Sam could well be a suspect if Megan gets killed.
I think for how volatile and dodgy Leanne has been in her life and how many crimes she's committed, like, you know, the bistro stuff and everything, I'm surprised she's never killed...
Not bistro stuff.
Well, you know, with... not the bistro.
Oh, so the Valandros burning it down, yeah.
I'm surprised she hasn't tried to kill anyone already.
Yeah.
I think she deserves one.
If Leanne was a suspect for murder, I don't think there's many people who would say, "What, Leanne? No,
exactly.
never. She's
Leanne,
a saint."
Exactly. It's bizarre that Toya got one in before she did.
Yeah. I think
she's easily as hard as Tracy.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the cover-up is a nice little plot twist. I think that if anyone's doing the cover-up, Maggie is the biggest puppet master that could easily kind of plot that and make sure it happened. It'd be perfect for a whodunit list. Like I said earlier, Betsy seeing this other young woman mangled on the ground is more likely to have the sort of reaction that we saw from Betsy. We saw Maggie scheming in the flash forward, so has she set the wheels in motion for this plan against Maggie? Is that what we're looking for there? There's so many more legs that this story has without Megan being in it. She doesn't need to be here for this story to keep blasting on through summer and beyond.
She's kind of a stumbling block. Her existence is kind of preventing anything from moving forwards.
Yeah,
until justice is served or she dies.
Yeah, and this baby is obviously no longer plot armor, because before some people said, well, they won't kill Megan off because that would mean killing an unborn baby. Well, that's not standing in the way of her getting bumped off now, is it? Would like to mention as well the other theory going out there that the first time that we saw Megan and Will together, there were fireworks going above them, weren't they? Because it was bonfire night, and it would be so poetic that she might end under fireworks as well, or he. But again, that would have to be if he was the one that killed her. Possibly.
I would say I can't remember who it was. Somebody on Twitter said this, and shout out to you because that is a very brilliant observation. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was.
No, fine. I can't see many reasons against it being her, to be honest. Again, yes,
it's too obvious.
Might be more interesting to see her face justice, but is it that interesting? Not really. I think it's much more juicy as a soap fan to want her bumped off, to be honest. So I've got her as odds as 1 to 3.
1 to 3.
Yeah.
Right. So
back on the side of more likely. I think this is how it works. I don't know. I just wanted to do something a little bit different.
So if I give you £1.
No, if you.
What?
If you give me £3.
Yeah.
I'll give you £1 back if Megan's the. You win £1 if
right.
Megan's the killer.
Okay.
So it's not. It's
so
a,
you're
it's a tiny
pretty sure
amount.
that it's. Yeah. I mean, I don't see many reasons that it's not her at all. But that again, because this is a soap, I think that it's quite possible that means it's not her.
Yeah.
But what do you do with this girl? What do you do with her? She's kind of got away with. The investigation hasn't come up with any evidence. What evidence? The only evidence that exists are the phones that she and Will have each.
Yeah, and they're going to have to be very careful with those at the moment.
I know, but that could come out and that could lead to her going to prison.
Yeah. So I think, there are reasons why, just to kind of sum it up, it could be anybody. They've all got some people, potential murderers out there. And, some people have got more armour than others in terms of unaired secrets, but we still have got 2 weeks to go. That's why I wanted to do this now rather than just before.
It's more fun to talk about it a bit further out, I think, because there's so much more potential.
Yeah.
As we get closer, we're going to get a better idea. What if somebody Valerie Barlows themselves?
What if it just ends up with someone accidentally kills themselves? Maybe. Yeah, who done it? Nobody.
Ladder. There was a ladder.
I don't think they've ever had that as an outcome of a whodunit. So anyway,
because it's deeply unsatisfying.
that's what we think. And I know this is a very long-winded way of saying everything we've been saying up till now, but I thought having it all together in one place, especially maybe if there's anyone listening that doesn't listen to the main podcast. And it's also, we've put out all these other kind of theories and clues and potentials that maybe you jumped onto that. I think that definitely the Carl and Theo antagonism is worth keeping an eye on in the next couple of weeks,
agree.
because there is definitely something going to unexplored, unexploded there. And I think what you said about Sam and his hallucinations may be playing into it.
Well, we're not sure yet, are we? I mean, I've put that together from looking up possible side effects of abusing that medication, and we know that he got paranoid and scared and threw his phone away because Daniel took his phone and he thought he was tracking him and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're not sure whether Will really did phone him up, but it feels unlikely. And we're not sure whether he actually even saw Will today. I need to watch that scene back now. But how kind of delicious and exciting to be setting that up for Sam.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential. It's a shame when you get yourself excited about something and then it turns out, actually it was Jodie that's killed.
Just Jodie, really boring. She fell on a box.
Anyway.
And it had a knife in it.
Very soon we will know. Probably by the time people are listening to this, a lot of people are listening to this, the previews for definitely the rest of this week and next week's Coronation Street will all be out there. So some of what we've said may well just be throw it in the bin because it's not relevant. But hey,
it's passes the time.
We can't freeze time until you've all listened to it. We've got to do it at some point. And
I enjoyed this. I thought this was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was fun to do. Fun to do. So thank you for listening, everybody. Do send us in your theories. No spoilers in them, though, please.
Thank you.
And then we'll all see who's right at the end. Oh, I hope it's us.
Well, we've said about a million things.
We have covered all bases.
One thing one of the things we said has to come true.
Yeah, if what actually happens is nothing that we've discussed,
I would actually be quite excited.
Unless it's something that came out of nowhere. If it's something that we could have guessed.
Yeah, it's got to be something probable, hasn't it?
Yeah. No spontaneous human combustion or anything like this. But anyway, there we go. That is what may well happen in 2.5 weeks. And ta-ra for now.
Bye.
Bye.